Welcome to the latest edition of Get Sweaty. We are here to provide you with all our takes on everything going on in the world of pop culture. I'm your man, Matt Majot, also known as Soda. And joining me, as always, I've got Ben, Sol, and Jordan. How you all doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, just chilling back on a Sunday, trying to keep my body warm because it's starting to feel like winter up here.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I'm lucky. I don't have to deal with that down here in Miami.
Yeah, lucky you. I like to see people from Florida try to drive in the snow.
That would be pretty funny to see because even people in Washington can't drive in the snow because we're in a temperate climate. So
people in Vancouver can't even drive in the snow. It's horrible.
Yeah.
The only time I experienced snow was when I lived in Tennessee and Kentucky, and even there, people don't know how to drive in the snow.
So you're born and raised in Florida, then, eh?
Yes.
Right on.
So I went to high school in Tennessee and college in Kentucky.
Okay, cool. But okay, so you're Florida through and through. Right on. I wasn't sure about that. Right on. So right off the bat, we're going to change things up a little bit. Normally we do this later in the show, but we're going to bring this up now, and it is our community segment. And this week, really only one story overshadowed everything when it comes to our community, and that was that. Getting goosebumps about this right now. Kevin Smets announced that he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, and shock. Nobody knew it was coming. I was expecting that he was going to announce that he was joining the singles division next year, which I'd heard was a possibility, but this came out 2 weeks before his daughter was born. He got the results back, and the doctors think it's good, but it's going to be a long and hard 9 months for him. I know I probably speak for everybody here where we wish him the very best. He is going to smash cancer. We are going to see him back. He is going to walk his daughter down the aisle like he wants. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was pretty blown away by the news. It was just hard to watch him even announcing it. He came onto SEN Live to announce it, and even Kevin Smith was in tears himself, and because it's a tough thing. My grandpa, he just survived a bout with colon cancer actually, and he did surprisingly well. The hardest part actually was the chemo. It just had a lot of side effects and just really drained him, and he was just pretty tired. But now he's made a full recovery, and he rides almost 10 plus miles a day on his bike. So he's made a pretty amazing recovery. I know Smets is a fighter, and we're all family in this community, and we have so much love for Kevin Smith. We support him totally, all the way. So anyone who's watching, even if Kevin sees this, if you need anything, we are here for you 100% of the way. You have a family behind you, and we're just here to support you any way that we can. So
yeah. How about you guys?
Well, for me, because in 2017, my mom had ovarian cancer, and that was the toughest part, was going through chemo. But she worked all the way through it, which I know Kevin, he's trying to continue to do his job through. And she said that was one of the things that kept her going, was that she had something to do, that she wasn't just sitting around being sad. And so I think the fact that he's going to continue working, that he has his daughter, that he has this whole community behind him, it's going to keep him going, and he's going to smash cancer. So I have all faith in the world in him. So
yeah. How about you, Ben?
It took me by surprise and awful of her timing, but like we can say, he's a fighter. He's going to meet this whole community is with him, and yeah, he's going to meet this next year.
Three of my grandparents have died of cancer, and my uncle has had 2 bouts of cancer. So it runs quite a bit in my family. And one of my grandmothers actually passed away of colon cancer in 1989. Back then it was a little different. You had to be stuck with a colostomy bag, and the only reason she died is because she did not want the indignity of doing that. So I'm glad that times have changed now. There's a little bit of a heartbreaking story behind it. I'm not going to say that on air because I don't want to bring anybody down or whatever. I might say it after the air, but it's a shitty, no pun intended. It's a shitty thing, and I pray to God he's going to pull through it, man. The world is better for people like Kevin in this place. So,
and he's put so much positivity and so much light out into the world that whether you believe in God or believe spiritually or even not, there's there's karma, and like so there's going to be he's been done so good for the community that things are going to happen well for him. So I truly believe that he's going to get through this, and we're all going to be cheering at the end.
I interviewed him. That would have been end of August, maybe early September. And when I looked back on when it was, I realized he knew when I interviewed him. It was around that time because that was not long before his daughter was born when we interviewed him. And he mentioned something that he had something pretty personalized to take care of. And then when I looked at the date of the recording, I was like, oh, fuck, the son of a bitch knew he had cancer.
Yeah. And if anyone saw our top 5 Schmoedown competitors, he was number 2 on my list. Like he's one of my favorite Schmoedown competitors. Like he's one of the reasons why I love the Schmoedown so much. He's such a fighter. I love seeing him come in with the hoods on and like that like super cool attitude. He's just like super intimidating in the Schmoedown, but in real life he's just like one of the nicest people you ever meet. And and I'm just super grateful that we've had so many advances in medicine and the different kind of treatments that do exist, that like I feel like he really has a really good fighting chance, and I have no doubt like we're gonna see him in the Schmoedown one way or another. I feel like I just have that faith. I just feel like it's gonna happen. So I mean, yeah.
Did anybody else picture while he's getting his radiation treatment, Kaiser standing next to him and like yelling at him, like managing him through this? Can anyone else picture that?
I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but my dog is like right there in the corner, like just moving her head. So I'm watching her.
I can totally picture that. He's like, "Come on, Smasher! Come on, you're gonna beat this! Come on, you got this!"
Yeah. 2509 Pear Street. Okay, I'm taking off my watch because apparently Siri's still on. Son of a bitch.
Still going on.
Anyways, so yeah, we wanted to start off with that. We wanted to say we are behind, like Jordan said, we are behind you 100%, Kevin. The whole Schmoedown gets sweaty. Everybody in the sphere is behind you, and dude, you know what to do. Smash cancer.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so now on to the bright side of the show. We've got our entertainment news. So Jordan, if you wouldn't mind taking that away.
Yeah, so on the first news here, that we got the news this week that Michael B. Jordan is going to be directing Creed 3. So that's pretty exciting news. I absolutely love Creed 1 and Creed 2. I think that they're just like amazing. That they fit right in with the entire Rocky franchise. I mean, they're just like up there with some of the best. And I don't know if Michael B. Jordan's really directed anything though. So
this is his first time.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll kind of see how that goes. But I'm sure that he's going to have a team around him of like great writers, and I'm sure that like Sylvester Stallone has to at least be some kind of like a consultant in some way, like at least like so. I mean, I'm pretty excited for it, but I'm mostly just excited that we're actually getting a Creed 3. So I'm excited that franchise is continuing. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll let you two go first before I give my thoughts.
Hey, go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Honestly, I think it's great. If he actually directs, I think it's a great fish movie for him. Not too big, but not too small. And he knows this franchise really well. And I'm guessing you have Ryan Coogler there to help consult along with Sylvester Stallone. So maybe the three of them could be making up something really, really great. And I can't wait to see it.
What I was going to say is someone like, I haven't seen Creed 1 and 2. It is my blind spot. I want to watch it. I see you shaking your head. But it is, I am excited about this news because I'm like, I like Michael B. Jordan, and I think, sorry, RB3. But I think he can do a good job. And so I will watch the first and second one, and I will watch this. I promise. That's my promise to you, Soda.
Yes. I've made it known that the Rocky franchise is my favorite franchise. It's my ride or die. As much as I love the MCU and is excellent, for me it's Rocky. It's been like that since a kid. The one thing I do not want to see in Creed 3, I do not want to see Rocky. The reason why is I think his story ended perfectly in Creed 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you don't need Rocky anymore to hold this franchise up. Adonis Creed is a strong enough character, and Michael B. Jordan's a good enough actor that it's time he does it on his own. At the very end of Creed 2, a little bit of a spoiler, Rocky says to Adonis, "It's your time now," and that's what this movie is going to be. It's going to be Adonis's time now, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind actually just like hearing the name Rocky, kind of just like floated around, but we definitely don't really need to see him. I feel like so.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
If, and I don't know anything, I'm just saying if Rocky isn't Creed 3, what if he's never died?
See, for me, that boat passed already.
Okay.
Like that boat has passed in that boat's passed.
Okay.
No, the way they left him off, again, I'm not going to spoil anything for Saul. The way they left him off was perfect. You do not need to see him again. Now, that said, if he does appear in Creed 3, I ain't going to complain. My favorite character. I love Rocky. I just don't want him. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, I'm happy if you're there, but I don't want you there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And Sylvester Stallone, like he's been pretty busy working on his new superhero movie. I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but he's like been like posting a lot of updates about about this superhero movie. So he's all in on that. I know that's keeping him pretty busy. So
yeah, and not just that, he's currently doing the director's cut of Rocky 4, which I am dying to see if it changes the tone in any way, because Rocky 4, everyone loves it, and I love it too, but it is really not a good movie. It is really a typical 80s music video. I'm curious to see if maybe he changes it more to what the first three were, more of a drama.
Well, I did hear something about that. I hear the robot is gone.
Oh, no, yeah, the robot's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, which I'm
It's kind of sad. It makes me sad. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, the robot is a fun part of the movie, but really, it doesn't add anything. Didn't add anything.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like you said, it's fun.
The robot can be there in your heart, Ben.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Happy birthday, Polly. No, I for that, I really hope they keep the score, because Vince DiCola did a really good Sims score for that, and a lot of the instrumental tracks are on my phone if I'm ever working out, which doesn't happen often. They're playing in the background. I just hope they don't alter the soundtrack in any way to that, because that soundtrack's dope.
So,
yes, it is.
Being the Rocky master you are, what's your favorite montage?
Oh, fuck. Favorite montage? I'd probably have to go with Rocky 2.
Okay.
After Adrian gives him his blessing.
Yep.
Win.
Yep.
And then it goes into you hear that, and then all of a sudden he starts running with the kids, and you see the big wide shot of him running down that avenue with all the kids behind him, and he runs up the Philadelphia Art Museum.
Yes.
I have to go with that. One's my favorite montage.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Actually, I have a slight little clip in my other show for the Tier Ranker movie fights. I put a little clip of that in the intro.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, all of the montages are good. It's just that one, it kind of shows who rock. Just shows the spirit of rock.
Yeah, I get it. I agree.
Yeah, but I like seeing him just running full speed, just like he has his whole heart and soul, just running right for those steps, just going at it, giving everything he has.
Yeah. Fun fact: getting to that building is number one on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Before I die, I have to get to the Rocky steps.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to come to America right now?
Not right now. I'd probably still be around for another 40 years.
Yeah.
The virus won't.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. You'll see me there in a hazmat suit going, yeah.
Right.
Maybe once you get the vaccine, then you make a trip.
Yep.
Maybe.
So we'll be like, what's this idiot in a hazmat suit doing?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Yo, Adrian. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
All right. So next on the list, we got some news about the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. So it was confirmed that we're gonna see Jared Leto's Joker show up, and then also we're gonna have Joe Manganiello Deathstroke also. So they're both gonna make an appearance, and also they confirmed that they have a new version of the script also. So I mean, that right there gets me pretty excited, just because it just shows how different it's going to be from the original version of the Justice League that we got in it. And like, I'm just excited to see like basically like a whole new movie. Like we're not getting any of the original footage in there. It's going to be all footage from Zack Snyder. So I'm just super excited. But what do you guys think? We'll start with Ben. What are your thoughts on the Snyder Cut?
Okay. You have to go with me first. All right.
Yeah.
Hot take, I like the Justice League theatrical cut, but I am wanting to see this new movie. I don't like Jared Leto. Jared, excuse me. Good, he's back. Yeah. I am excited to see Deathstroke. That got me excited from the end credits of Justice League.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be good. I'm not excited for it, but Ocean can have when it comes out. Why not? It sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think for me, and I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, so those who liked the theatrical cut of Justice League, like, awesome, goes. Those who didn't, awesome. Whatever way you fall on that goes, and whatever way you fall with your thoughts on the Snyder Cut. But what I was excited for was to actually see like what he planned to do before the tragedy of his daughter. And so kind of like it looks like he's adding things that he wasn't even planning to do originally. So
Right.
I'm partially excited, partially not. I don't want him to add so much in there that it becomes like another Batman versus Superman, because he was trying to do way too much in that movie. It was a Batman origin. It was a Man of Steel 2. It was a intro to the Justice League. It was basically Death of Superman. Like, let's just add and add and add. And I really want this to be a focused story and like that exciting story that we all wanted with the Justice League. So I'm still excited to see it. I'll still see it, but I don't know about this news. It kind of gives me pause.
So I'm kind of in between Ben and Saul here. Like, when there was the whole release of Snyder Cut thing, I'm like, just let it die. And then when they announced it, I'm like, well, we're getting it. I can't wait to see it. Jared Leto as the Joker, he was okay. I'm not sure how I feel about him being in the Snyder Cut, but I'm really excited for Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke, because that is the character we don't really get to see much, and I want to see his take on it. And this is the first time I've heard the news about how he's potentially adding things that weren't originally in his cut, so that's kind of a bummer. But the way I look at it is like, I again get to see my favorite superheroes on screen. So give it to me.
Yep.
And I mean, we're all lucky. We're all lucky that this is even happening.
Yeah.
Because like most likely this would have been like, oh, we'll see a director's cut in 10, 20, 30 years. So the fact that this is happening is exciting.
The way I look at it is they did something similar. How long ago was that? I would have was in my teens when this happened, but they did a prequel to the movie The Exorcist. I don't know if you guys remember this.
I don't know that at all.
So they did a prequel to the movie The Exorcist probably in the early 2000s. There's actually two versions of this movie, and it's kind of like a similar situation what we're getting with Justice League. You have the theatrical released one, and then you have the one from the original director where it's all his stuff. So that's pretty much a situation we're getting here. It is not something that it's happened before. So it's the way I look at it. It's like, hey, we've got two versions of the Justice League. I kind of really hope they keep the fight scene that takes place after Superman got resurrected, because I really like that scene.
Thank you. That's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's same.
But here's the thing. You guys are acting like it's one movie. Don't forget, I think he's making a miniseries now. And he
Yeah,
it's going to be, I think, 6 episodes. Four episodes,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, he had to fill up 4 hours of stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be new. It's not his original movie. It's going to be another Frankenstein. hopefully one done better than Justice League. Even though I love it, that's what everyone says. It's a Frankenstein movie. No.
And what I'm hoping is that it's not for the money, that this is like for, because I think Scott Snyder probably had a 3-hour movie in his mind and on the chopping block. And I think right now he's adding stuff to make it. Did I say Scott instead of Zach?
Yeah.
I have the.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
So, I mean Zach goes, and so it's kind of. I have comic books on the brain. Goes, but I don't even know where I was. I just.
That's all right.
You guys go ahead.
Okay, so there was a rumor that in the original script for the Justice League that Green Lantern was going to be in there. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that rumor.
Now, do you think we're going to get... Sorry, go ahead.
He was in the movie.
Supposedly, yeah, that's what the rumor was. When that person shows up to Alfred.
No. He was in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I think he... Did he not get on the chopping block, or was he there?
He was there in the flashback.
No. That wasn't like Green Lantern like we know it. That was the Green Lantern Corps.
No, okay, I see what you mean.
No, I'm talking Hal Jordan, John Stewart. Green Lantern.
Okay, my mistake. I'm sorry.
No worries. Do you think because they're expanding it into this miniseries format, do you think we're going to actually get him in there? Because remember, they said unite the 7, and he is one of the 7.
We might, because they are doing a Green Lantern series on HBO. I wonder if there's going to be any connection, possibly.
Yeah.
And then they're also going to have a Green Lantern movie too. So I don't know if there's going to be a connection there either. I mean, who knows? I don't know, but I wouldn't mind seeing him, because for me growing up, Green Lantern was always one of the core members of the Justice League for me.
Yeah.
So
Personally, one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And didn't he want to have Martian Manhunter in there as well?
Yes.
That would be kind of cool too. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, that'd be way cool.
We just had him in Supergirl. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. We had him in Smallville, if you remember.
And then too, by Phil Lamar.
I think the character that was
not Phil Lamar. The guy from Seinfeld. It was.
That's right. That wasn't Phil Lamar.
Phil Lawrence.
Yeah.
Close enough. Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Saul?
I was gonna say, I think he was in the movie as a background character, but it wasn't something that was brought to the forefront, if I remember reading that correctly, and that it was something that was gonna be brought to the forefront and just never happened. That got cut.
Well, maybe now's a chance to actually bring him to the forefront, because I would love to see Green Lantern with the Justice League, man.
Same.
So, okay, not saying he's there. Not saying he is. What other chances? Hal Jordan? Ryan Reynolds. What other chances?
Slim to none.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it, but I'd say slim to none.
If he shows up, I'll be like, hey.
Yeah, he survived the bullet to the head in Deadpool 2.
Right.
Right.
I think that DC wants to distance themselves from that movie, bro.
Right. Taika Waititi wants to distance himself from that movie with Free Guy. He was like, "Oh, the first movie me and Ryan Reynolds are doing."
I forgot that he played Pieface. Yeah. Which is the character's nickname in the comic books. I don't remember the actual character's name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember. I've only seen that movie one time and never cared to see it again.
You know what? The director's cut's not half bad.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate that movie.
Yeah. I did. Okay, I will say I hated their representation of Parallax.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, the movie was adequate. Yeah. Now, if it is Green Lantern, it's probably going to be John Stewart, right? That seems to be what everybody wants.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, let me ask you this. Spoiler for the end of Arrow, but we saw Dig get a green ring. And we know his last name now is Stewart. In any way, they go from Arrow is John Stewart.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. Probably
No.
not, but
No, and the only reason I say that it's not that that wouldn't be cool. It's just DC is well known for keeping their TV and their movies separate. Outside of that
Hold
Flash
on.
thing, that's what they do.
Okay, but that's in a new era. You're right. That used to be the old way of thinking. But we're in a new era where Ezra can show up on the CW.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't think it is, but could it
Hey.
go?
Anything can happen.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, like I just mentioned, we had that Flash scene in Crisis. That alone shows that anything could happen.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, one of my favorite moments, though, it was a moment from John Schnepp, though. When he was talking about the Green Lantern, his thoughts on parallax. He just was calling it just a big, giant floating diarrhea cloud, and he started making fart noises about it and
She's
stuff.
not
It's
wrong. That is not fucking parallax.
Yep, exactly. They
And then
totally
that- I
butchered
mean-
that.
And it's not Galactus either, by the way, but that's something else entirely.
No. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So next we have the Power Rangers cinematic universe is in full swing, possibly, because
Yeah.
it was announced that that there's going to be a TV series, and then also they're going to have movies coming that are going to kind of be built and planned out, kind of similar to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I think is awesome that they're actually putting some pre-thought and planning in all this and how to make it connected. And I just wanted to actually read a little bit about what they're going to be doing. So there's an article from the Hollywood Reporter, but it says, according to the Hollywood Reporter, E1, a Hasbro-owned production company, has big plans for the ever-popular Power Rangers franchise, and it apparently is taking inspiration from the likes of the MCU in terms of how a planned movie and TV series will connect together. Jonathan Entwistle, if I got his name right, who directed and produced End of the Effing World, as well as I Am Not Okay With This, will be hired to not only direct and oversee a new Power Rangers movie, but also an accompanying TV series. However, it's unclear at this time whether these productions will in some way connect to the 2017 Power Rangers movie. Only time will tell. And then it also goes on to say that we just talked about how they've had connections in the past, like in 1996, they had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Zeo Rangers together. They merged them, and so they're just saying how they've done things similar in the past, but they are trying to just kind of do something a little similar to what the MCU has as far as like all the planning goes, and like making sure that it's very planned out and that's connected. So what are you guys' thoughts? Are any of you guys Power Rangers fans? I'm just going to kind of throw it out there because I don't know if any of you guys are, but if you are, then let us know.
Like obviously, I love more the nostalgia of the Power Rangers, and I really did like the last movie. I think raising your chickens before they hatch is a bad idea. Everyone's trying to do the cinematic universe thing. Instead of announcing they're doing it, release the movie first, then go forward. Do like Iron Man did. There's a reason that was successful is because they focused on one character, and then at the end they just threw that out there. No, it worked. Whereas I could see this going the way of the Mummy.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on that story, they introduced a whole bunch of things, and kind of the Mummy was the afterthought.
I just have to say Yellow Ranger. Yellow Ranger.
Yes.
Those and I'm excited because Power Rangers gives me like that nostalgia, and I had like the Game Boy games and
Got the Megazord.
but I'm gonna have to agree with Soda there. Those that you don't want to do the Mummy route and be like, hey, we're gonna have this wonderful, huge universe, and then the first movie, and you're like, oh, and then now it's gone.
Yeah, I'm not fine with the universe,
but
just one step at a time, folks.
Yeah, it's like when Iron Man first came out, they were like, wouldn't it be cool? And so they had that teaser at the end but they basically were just like, one of them even had like a teaser where they were talking about the Spider-Man movies that had just recently come out and was talking about the X-Men movies that had come out before. Like, it was a completely different closer with Nick Fury, but then they changed it up again depending on how they were going to go forward. So I think it's like having that plan for the future, but not really expecting it is the way to go forward. And so, I agree with Soda on that point.
Nothing wrong with planting the seeds like they did with the Nick Fury scene. Just don't, instead of like putting the seed in the ground, just don't show up with a fucking tree.
Yeah.
How about you, Ben?
Okay, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan from when I was a kid. Green Ranger on the way.
Yeah, Green Ranger.
White Ranger.
I'm like you, Matt. I really liked the movie from 3 years ago. I liked it so much I bought it on digital. And to be honest, I think that movie is the best they could do updating it. I can't see them doing any better. And I'm with you. Make one good movie first, and then slowly build up to a shared universe.
Yeah.
Concentrate on a good story, good characters, a few Easter eggs, but make a good movie first.
Agreed. I'm kind of bummed that they didn't pick up with the movie. Like, I would have liked to see that continue as a franchise.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. The movie I didn't love, but I liked it. Like a 7 out of 10 on my scale, probably.
Yeah, I put it about there too.
Yeah. But yeah, and then one thing I always have to recommend whenever it comes to Power Rangers, one of my favorite things to come out of this universe is actually the original composer Ron Wasserman. He re-released all the original Power Rangers music like on an album that's like has like all the original music, the theme song, and it's like super heavy metal, super like hardcore rock. So
nice.
I would definitely recommend anyone checking out Ron Wasserman's album of Power Rangers music. It's like something that's like on my playlist, and like I even listen to it when I work out. Like it gets me pumped up.
I want to throw out the episode of the Toys That Made Us on the Power Rangers. That was actually a really good history on
That was
the Power
a good
Rangers.
one. Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. All right. Next.
All right. Next we got so we got news that we're getting Fast and Furious 10 and 11, and they're going to be the final two movies in that franchise. So going to kind of close things out. Now, it's not to say we're not going to get any more Hobbs and Shaw possibly, but as far as the core Fast and Furious, that we're going to end with number 11, and it's going to be directed by Justin Lin. For me, I'm a huge diehard Fast and Furious fan. I love the very first movie it came out, but I kind of see it for what it is, just kind of like a off the wall, just kind of like racing movie that's almost not really based in reality, like the craziness. Even from the first movie, I didn't really take it that serious, and that's why I love it, because if you do take it serious, like most people who don't end up liking that franchise. But if you just kind of see it for just the fun popcorn and like just like hardcore racing and crazy stunts and action and all that stuff, and watching things explode, all that stuff, then you can definitely become a big fan. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts? Are any of you guys big fans of the franchise, or do you guys,
I love Fast and Furious.
hate it? Do you love it?
Me too.
Oh.
I think it's a guilty pleasure almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, this news is actually sad for me because I was hoping that this would keep on going to the ridiculousness that it is forever. So like, I hope that they actually continue doing Hobbs and Shaw, because at least that'll make me a little happy. Because this news kind of made me sad. I was like, no, this series needs to go on forever.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what else could they do? Like, I've heard that these ones are going to go into space. What are they going to do? Go to Uranus? No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, right.
Go to Saturn?
Yeah, right. They're going to go Uranus or Saturn.
Imagine this, Nicolas Cage.
Well, I mean, yeah, that would be awesome.
Just like, as insane as Nicolas Cage is, you could add that to the Fast and Furious, make it even more insane.
I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised he hasn't been in them already.
Right?
2 words. Time travel.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah,
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Time travel in space.
Tom finds the DeLorean.
Yeah. Oh, God damn it. There's your Back to the Future 4, folks. Okay, what's everyone's favorite of the Back to the Future? The Fast and the Furious.
They got time travel on the brain.
Yeah.
I think is the one in is number 5 the one that they're in Brazil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that one then.
Okay, Ben?
7.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The ending of 7 was Tom and Paul driving off. That gets me every time.
And that song, anytime I hear that song, it's like sadness.
It's the only song from those movies I still have on my phone.
Yep.
What about you, Jordan? It's your favorite.
Probably have to go with number 7 also, but we do have a lot of love for the 4th one, just because like right after Tokyo Drift, I feel like is where it really took off and really became more like just a racing movie, more of like a heist like style movie, and like you just added all these different elements, and like the stunts just kind of blew up from there, and so probably number 7, but number 4 is right up.
Was that when The Rock was added, or was The Rock added in 5?
5. That's 5.
Yeah.
4 is when we first met Giselle.
Oh, okay.
And I'm actually, that is my personal favorite. As much as I love 5 and 6 and 7, 4 is my favorite because it's the best of both worlds. We still have a little bit of the old Fast and Furious, but we got a little bit of more new goofiness. And there's just, I'd say that one for me is what the Fast and the Furious is.
Yeah,
it's car racing. It's bro with a little bit of goofiness on the side.
And I think too, with all of the movies, they kind of all run together. So you could have like a marathon and watch them, and like you're like, oh, what happened in this movie? Because they all kind of like, that's why I love this series so much, is because I can watch any of them at any time, and it's just like, oh, back in it.
Yeah, I mean, like you could theoretically skip 2 and 3, even though when you get to 5, you'd be like, why is he in this? Thinking about Tyrese, but I mean, like, really, you could do 1 and 4 through 9, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this: who is your favorite character? And does your favorite character have like a line or anything that you love?
Well, I don't have any lines that pop out for me personally, because like Saul said, they all kind of blend together. But I'm actually, I like Ludacris's character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because is it what I'm gonna say, Han? Because I like Han a lot. Goes, and it's sad that he's no longer with us. But then the teaser at the end of the last trailer for the new movie.
Yep.
So it's like he's back.
Yeah, that's gonna be the most infuriating thing about that movie getting delayed. It's like, I want my answer.
Right.
How did he come back? What the heck happened?
Yeah, time travel.
Yeah.
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 He has a DeLorean.
Yep. Yeah.
He's the old Gamora.
Yep. Yeah, probably my favorite character has got to be Brian O'Connor, but do have a lot of love for The Rock in that with all the one-liners when he's like, "Daddy's got to go to work," and he's like flexing and stuff, and like just like all the crazy one-liners. Like you can't beat The Rock when it comes to one-liners. He's like the king of one-liners. Well, him and Arnold Schwarzenegger would be the two I'd go to.
Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna show some love to Ryan Reynolds' character from Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Yep, that's a fun cameo.
Yeah.
My favorite character is The Rock, and my favorite line is a one-liner. "Woman, I am the cavalry."
Yep.
Yeah, that is a good line.
Yep.
And I think I'm like the only person in the world that like has so much love for Tokyo Drift. Like I think Tokyo Drift might be my second favorite.
You know,
to be honest,
Same here. I actually love
that. It is an underrated entry in the franchise. It really is.
Yeah,
because I came to this series really late. Like I saw 5 first, and then I saw 6. Then I decided to watch the rest. So by that point, I'd heard all the hate for Tokyo Drift, and then I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is actually really good.
I think Tokyo Drift was the first one I saw. So when it went to like different characters, to him he was like the main character to me. So then when I saw 4, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, something's not right.
Yeah, because someone want to look up the official viewing order for Fast and Furious, because technically Tokyo Drift happened after a couple of the other movies, because you had Han in like six. What was it like number 5 or 6 that he came back, and then you see him eating the chips again and that. But then when he actually died, like happened chronologically, I think after 6. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then at the end of 6, they made it that Shaw was the one that killed him.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with, whatever.
But obviously, Shaw didn't actually kill him because that trailer.
Yeah. I will say a lot of people complain about the convolutedness of other series. I think this one's probably the most convoluted one there is.
Right. Yep, I would agree.
I'm due for a rewatch. I actually haven't watched the series in years, like back from start to finish.
Me too.
I will watch Creed for you first before I rewatch Fast and Furious.
A lady after my heart. Okay, what's next, Jordan?
So we have the news that we're going to get a live action Addams Family series, and it's going to be directed by Tim Burton. So, and for me, like this news it's kind of hit and miss for me. Like I love a lot of Tim Burton's early stuff. I love Batman, obviously. I love Edward Scissorhands. I love just a lot of I love Beetlejuice, all of that. But then when it comes to like some of those more recent work, maybe not so much. I'm really hoping we don't get some that's like anything near like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, any of those kind of things. But so it's one of those the series that I would say that I'm curious about. I'm very curious. I mean, I've never been a huge Addams Family fan. I mean, just never something that really interests me. But like I would definitely be curious to see what we're gonna get, because the Addams Family, it seems like a perfect style for Tim Burton, for perfect type of a movie for him to just put all his unique little takes on that and stuff. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on? Let's go with Saul first. What do you?
I love I think it's 1991 was when Addams Family, that movie came out, and then like Addams Family Values, like those movies were like staples growing up. So like this is exciting for me because I'm really interested on who they cast. Because that's gonna be like kind of like, okay, let's see where we're going. So I'm just excited for the news. Like I'm happy for it. So yeah.
Cool.
So,
what do you guys think?
I'm torn. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a new Addams Family live action series. It's that Tim Burton's directing it. I'm a little worried about. But if he does this, if he were to take Beetlejuice and add a little bit of Big Fish in there, the whimsy of Big Fish, I think he might have something.
And I feel like this is up his alley. Like this is something that probably gets him very excited. Like this sounds Tim Burton, Addams Family does.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
So I think like I'm hoping that this is going to be a good like Tim Burton project.
Yeah. If he brings the Tim Burton of old into it, like Jordan said, Tim Burton of old, not Charlie. Yeah.
Or Dumbo.
Or I still haven't seen Dumbo.
Not like Dumbo. So, but he also did one movie that I thought would be right up his alley. It was like something about the shadows, like that, like had
Dark Shadows.
Yeah, Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp about the vampire family, and like I was super excited for that. I'm like, this is gonna be right up his alley, and I saw it, and I was just like, this like really disappointed. I was like,
for me, it's his best movie he's done in the last 15 years.
Yeah, really? it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not horrible. Exactly.
Okay.
Like that movie.
So let me ask you this: Addams Family TV show, Tim Burton, over under 60%. Johnny Depp and Helen Carter, Gomez and Morticia.
Under.
Okay.
I think if he had done this
Gomez and Morticia under. Yeah, I think that they might be in there. I think they'll probably be in it, but probably like as side characters.
You know what?
I
I could see Johnny Depp as Cousin It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, but I mean, like in terms of them playing Gomez and Morticia 20 years ago, no doubt. But they're too old to play those roles at this point. I think you got to go for what I would do. I would go with somebody who's not totally known, who's got a little bit of a name recognition, but isn't known.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
Yeah.
who to pick for more Morticia, but I'd love to see Oscar Isaac play Gomez. I think he'd be a he could go with
his hands down the best choice.
yeah.
Didn't he voice him in the movie, the animated
Maybe he
movie?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
If he did, I would love to see him in live action because he's got the look too.
Yeah. I'm
And-
trying to think who would be good for that. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
And because like his name is Gomez, like getting a Latino in there, that's cool.
You have to do that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Raul Julia was perfect for Gomez.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, you're right.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, that could be a good one, or even Diego Luna.
And Lorian, but he's not the guy in the costume.
He's not?
No, he.
Of course
At
not.
first, I was like, "Oh, you're for real," but then I realized halfway through he's not. I was like, "Oh, Ben's just joking."
I think Pedro Pascal would actually be a really great Gomez Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've seen like some of his more like dramatic stuff, like Narcos or things like that, like I could see it.
And if you've seen, like, I know it's not really well liked, but if his comedic sensibilities in the sequel to The Watchmen, Kingsman was really good.
Yeah.
So he can play both sides. Now, who would you want to see as Morticia?
That one's tough. I just don't.
Morticia's not traditionally Latino, is she? Latina?
Oh, let me look it up.
Yeah, I honestly not sure on that one because didn't who voiced her in the animated movie? Does anybody know?
That I don't know.
It was Angelica Houston for the movie.
Movies, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be. It could be, but it doesn't have to be.
Ooh. Okay.
You know who I think would pull it off? It wouldn't really work with the age difference if you cast Pedro Pascal. I think that Megan Fox actually would be not bad.
That's an interesting choice. I was thinking like Ana de Armas kind of like popped up in my
Oh
head.
yeah,
Okay.
there you go. That's a good one. I'm not a huge Megan Fox fan, but you never know.
I think she could pull it off.
And I think she deserves a comeback. With,
Yeah.
like kind of what she's gone through. I think like it would be cool to see her come back and like actually do something really cool.
And I mean, like, she's not the best actress in the world, but I think she's got the look, and B, I think she can play off that like that sexy vamp character really well.
Yeah, kind of like Ana de Armas because like I like the scene at the end of shoot now Knives Out, and I'm blanking on the name for a minute, but Knives Out where she's sitting up in the balcony, kind of just like watching everyone with a little cup of coffee, just staring down at everyone. I kind of get that like Morticia vibe a little bit right there.
Yeah, and if they're gonna go that route, then I would say it's definitely you got to go like really young Gomez and Morticia, and the kids are like toddlers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And makeup can do some wonders. They can make her look a little older.
Yeah,
True.
you never
True.
know. Yep. So
Alrighty.
next on the list, we got a few trailers that came out recently. I was just gonna touch on 3 of them. So one of them was a trailer for and I hope I pronounced it right. Raya and the Last Dragon. I think it's Raya is what I heard it pronounced as, but
That's how I heard it too.
but spelled Raya. But I was just gonna give just a quick little synopsis on it, and then just like one quote that I thought was pretty good writing that really like for the trailer. But it says long ago in a fantasy world of Kamundra, humans and dragons lived together in harmony. But everything changed when sinister monsters known as Droon attacked. The dragon sacrificed himself to save humanity. 500 years pass, those same monsters return, and it ends up to a lone warrior named Raya to track down the last dragon in order to finally stop the Droon for good. However, along her journey, she'll learn that it'll take more than dragon magic to save the world. It's going to take trust as well. And So the quote that I really like, just like it just kind of just like struck me in the trailer. She says my whole life I trained to become the guardian of the Dragon Gem, but this world has changed. Its people are divided. Now to restore peace, I must find the last dragon. My name is Raya. And while she's saying that, you see all the different groups of people that are actually divided. You see, I think it's like 4 different groups that they're divided into, and so for me, like I was actually shockingly pretty impressed when I saw the trailer. On paper, it just seemed like kind of just some other throwaway animated movie, but when I saw the trailer, I was actually impressed. And they say Raya is going to be voiced by Kelly Marie Tran, so I think that's cool.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and
Awkwafina is going to be part of the movie as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Awkwafina.
Yeah. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun and
Agent Ellen for the win.
Yep. I kind of get some Moana vibes a little bit, but with like an Asian flair just a little bit. So, but for me, yeah, I'm definitely excited. Like almost every Disney movie that usually comes to theaters. I don't know what's going to happen during COVID times, but then usually the ones that are in theaters are usually home runs for me most of the time. So,
and I think they said this is the first original from Disney since Moana, and I enjoy that it's because there was like Frozen 2 and it was other like sequel stuff.
Well, what about no? I guess Ship was the one that came out last year, the first one that they released on straight to digital.
Yeah, I think the reason is because it went to digital. It was Onward.
Yeah.
I think
Onward. Yeah,
but didn't that also get released in theaters?
Yeah, but that was Pixar.
Disney. Same different pile to me. Like it all looks the same.
I agree, but yeah.
And I'm excited for the fact that one, it's depicting Asian characters and you have Asian voice actors, and I don't think the director is Asian, but I looked in like the writers, and let me like get it so that way I can say their names, because so that's cool that you have people that are Asian handling Asian material.
100%.
And also, I want to say that Raya looks like a waterbender and gave me a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes. So
yeah, it did.
That's my blind spot.
Mine too.
Well, if I watch Creed, you need to watch Avatar. It's on Netflix.
Yes, Avatar is saved in my list on Netflix.
Let me look it up while someone else gives their thoughts.
So I'm excited for this because I'm excited whenever Disney does a story with a strong female lead. Like you've got Moana. I think Brave is underrated. I really, really do.
Yeah, it's underrated.
And also they're exploring cultures that we don't, as a mass audience, see all that often, and that is a big plus for me because I'm always about learning about other cultures and stuff. So I'm 100, and plus it's Disney, so I'm 100% behind it.
Yeah, but usually anything that ever goes to theaters from Disney, I'm like, you literally can't go wrong. Like it's gonna be good, like no matter what. It's like there's very little chance it's gonna be bad.
So the writers is Adele Lim and Kui Nguyen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not, because the directors is Don Hall, Carlos Lopez Estrada, and Paul Briggs. So the directors aren't Asian, but the writers are, and the voice actors are. So that's exciting, at least.
Nice.
I was gonna say, like, I do not want to try to pronounce like Asian names like that.
I think it's Nguyen. I think that's how it's pronounced. I've heard it pronounced.
Horrible at butcher.
I was like, I think the G is silent, but I'm not sure. That's why.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I don't have any Asian people in my life to ask.
Right.
I live in a small town.
Yeah.
Although I did go to school with a guy named Harry Shin, which was interesting.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Also,
and that's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, Harry Shin, who fell face first in a pile of cow shit at a grad party.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Well, move on to the next one. I think. Unless you have any thoughts, Ben. Do you got any thoughts on it?
It looks great. I mean, what else can I say? It was Disney. Everything Disney proper makes. Most of the time is great. So I really hope we see a real dragon in this one. Yeah, I liked Onward, but what they called a dragon did not work for me personally.
Onward was Disney's version of a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing about one of the directors, Don Hall. This might be why you got vibes of Moana. He co-directed Moana.
Okay.
And he
Yeah,
also
that makes-
directed Big Hero 6.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Big
and he
Hero 6, I love
also he was also involved with Tarzan. He did the story treatment for Tarzan, and he did additional material for Emperor's New Groove, and he did the screenplay for Meet the Robinsons. So he does have some good quality Disney work under him.
Nice.
As you can tell by my picture in the background, I'm a big Tarzan fan. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I'm just gonna just touch real quick on two other trailers here. So we had a trailer release for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is actually Chadwick Boseman's final film. And I remember watching this, and it like got me pretty emotional watching it because Chadwick Boseman doesn't show up right away in this trailer, but he shows up kind of halfway through it, and it does look like he has a pretty significant role, and you can just see like he just acting lights out, just like completely lights out. You can see all the emotion, all like the just like the like feeling and like everything that he's putting into this role. And in the movie, Ma Rainey is a singer. She sings at all these different nightclubs, and then Chadwick Boseman is the horn player in the band, and then they end up getting discovered and getting signed to a record deal and kind of make it big. But it's just kind of their journey through all of this. And like, man, I'm like, when I saw Chadwick Boseman, like honestly, like I had to like pause it for a minute, and because I was getting like super emotional, and I was like, why does God have to be so cruel and like take amazing, incredible actors out of this life, like when they're so young too? It's just like man, he had so much more talent left in it. I feel like he had so much more to give us, and he was just taken way too soon. Because like for me, like especially as like African American actors go, like he's like one of the best. Like he's for sure in my top 5 of all time. So it's just So I'm definitely gonna see this for Chadwick Boseman. I mean, the story's not something that would really normally interest me, but seeing Chadwick Boseman, and they also have Viola Davis and
I
Taylor
didn't know that was Viola Davis until they put her name in at the end of the trailer.
I know. Yeah, she totally looks like totally different. I was like, what? Like I was kind of shocked by that. But yeah, what do you guys think?
It better win a makeup art like Oscar, But this movie would have interested me originally anyways, because I'm a band kid. I know Soda is as well. Yeah, so like any band. Oh yeah, true. So like as a band kid, like anything that comes out where like you see music and stuff like that is super interesting. The fact that it's Chadwick. So yeah. The fact that it was Chadwick, kind of like you, I was getting emotional watching it, and it was very much like, and man,
he was sick too.
Yeah, you can see it. Like,
he was just like with Defy Bloods, how like skinny he was, and I remember people like commenting on that, and the fact that like now we know the reason why, and so it's really sad, and it looks phenomenal. I hope that it is phenomenal for Chadwick's sake, because he deserves like the best.
Ben, I want to hear your thoughts before I pose a question.
It looks good. We're having another great performance by him. But I haven't heard about this movie until I saw the trailer. But check it out definitely.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like Sol said, the band kid in me always loves everything with music, especially these type of stories about the music business and about different cultures and about the blues in the United States during that time and stuff. Now, my question is, after hearing Jordan speak, do you think that Chadwick Boseman is to our generation what James Dean was to the baby boomers? Now, the reason why I asked that, Chadwick Boseman has a much bigger filmography, but here is an actor that pretty much we lost, you could argue, in the prime of his career, and he had much more to go. He's already a legend. He's already bigger than life. Do you think in 30 years from now we're going to be venerating Chadwick Boseman like we do James Dean?
I actually really think so, because actually, it's one thing about my grandparents, actually. So my grandpa used to ride a lot of motorcycles, and he had the exact same style of motorcycles that James Dean had. And then that's one of the reasons that actually drew my grandma to my grandpa. He just thought they looked so cool and handsome on his motorcycle. And like he has all these old pictures where like I kid you not, he looks like the exact spitting image of James Dean, like exactly. So so I mean, I really think that actually could very well be true about Chadwick Boseman. Like they really revere James Dean high, and for me, I already feel like I revere Chadwick Boseman high, and I did even before he died. Like it just kind of makes me think about him more now that he's passed away. But even before that, in his roles like Black Panther, 42, some of those big roles he was in, I already thought he was like an incredible actor. So.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think so. And then I just think that he's already now getting a lot of love. So the fact that I can just see that continuing on. And I think too, with his passing, it really shows that like you got to give people their roses while they're living.
Yeah.
And let them know like just how amazing they are and what they're going through. And I think also it shows that you never know what someone's going through, because he was sick through Avengers, through Black Panther.
Yeah.
We didn't know. And so I just remember people, talking about like how skinny he looked for Da 5 Bloods. And now we know, oh, that's because of the cancer. And so like the people who are making fun of him now probably feel really shitty. So I think
better.
Yeah, they better. So I think too that like he's getting the praise that he's getting now is 100% deserved, and I think going forward it's just going to continue to grow. And once the younger kids see the movies that he's been on, 42, Black Panther, The 5 Bloods, seeing those types of movies depicting Black characters is going to be really important for young Black kids growing up now and in the future.
Yeah, I 100% agree, because James Dean was in the 50s what teenagers looked up to, and you're 100% right. Chadwick Boseman is to be what African Americans look up to, and not just African Americans, but our kids are going to look up to. I know a lot of white kids who look up to Black Panther.
Right.
In my town.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that, but I think you're absolutely right. I think I think he will be the next James Dean. He had more movies, so and the movies he was in are really diverse from each other.
Agreed.
So, he was incredible.
There is one thing James Dean has over him that, unfortunately, which I'm surprised, Chadwick Boseman was never nominated for an Academy Award.
I think he's going to be nominated for 2 posthumously.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think that he's going to get a supporting for Da 5 Bloods, and he's going to get for Ma Rainey's.
No, I'm with you. I'd say more Ma Rainey's. I can tell you they're going to give him a lengthy tribute at the Oscars.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then just to speak more on Ma Rainey's, too, is made by. It's originally a play, and that the play was on Broadway in 2003. The play originally was written in 1982. And it's the same guy who wrote Fences. I'm trying to look up his name right now. August Wilson. So it's really just another one of like bringing his plays to the big screen. So
yeah. Cool. And Ma Rainey is a real person.
Yep.
Oh, nice. So it's a true story.
Yeah. What is one of the earliest African American professional blues singers?
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah,
that right there is even more impetus for me to watch it because some of it's based in truth.
Yeah, and
Yeah, Chadwick is Mr. History. He loves to play historical figures.
Yep.
yep, Thurgood Marshall was another one, and I mean,
Uh-huh.
you did all the historical characters like that.
Robinson,
James Brown.
James
Yep.
Brown.
Yep, James Brown. Yeah, but I was looking at James Dean. Actually, he was in 14 movies. I didn't know that, but it's
Well, yeah, but a lot of those movies were like TV movies.
yeah, he really only starred in just a couple. Like
He only did the three.
three. Okay.
Two of them released posthumously, Rebel and Giant, and 2 Academy Award nominations posthumously. He's the only person to ever have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Chadwick is going to join him.
You mean number
Yep.
2? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep. So now we get to the final trailer. We got a trailer for The News of the World starring Tom Hanks, and this trailer really impressed me. Looks to be like Tom Hanks is in the Old West, and he's just traveling from town to town, and he is announcing the news of the world. So he has all the newspapers, and he's the guy that just brings the news and reads them. That was an actual job they had back then. They even say that in the movie. They say like, "Oh, you can just go around and read the news. That's a job you can have." But then along the way, he finds this little girl, and they kind of like say, I can't remember what the little girl's name is, but they say introducing so and so, and like apparently she's supposed to be giving just like an outstanding performance. This little girl, so they're really hyping her up with that. But he just protects her, and I don't even I couldn't tell if he was trying to take her somewhere, or if he was just like now in his care, and like he was essentially raising her, because they say that in the trailer that her whole entire family died and she was the only survivor. So, and they're killed by Native Americans on the trail, to somewhere, and so yeah. But it's Tom Hanks. I mean, it's like he always gives an outstanding performance every single time. So I mean, when you see a Tom Hanks movie, it's always going to be good, and so yeah, I'm definitely interested. I as I get older, actually, having started to love westerns more and more and more. When I was a kid, I didn't really appreciate them very much. I honestly probably didn't really even like them, but now I actually love a good western. So I'm definitely excited. And I didn't see a release date. I thought it was maybe going to be around Christmas time, but I could be wrong. It could very well be next year. So, but yeah, what are you guys' thoughts? What do you think of this movie?
I'm with you. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a better appreciation for westerns. That's my dad loves westerns, so actually this is one I can't wait to show him the trailer for.
Yeah.
I unfortunately didn't see the trailer, but Tom Hanks, man.
And you're right, Jordan, it is Christmas.
That's what I thought. I thought it said Christmas Day. Yeah. But Ben, what do you think? Do you like westerns? Are you excited for that? Are you excited for Tom Hanks, or all of the above?
At the beginning of COVID, I actually went back and I did a whole binge on westerns. Clint Eastwood mostly.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, I love westerns, and I love Tom Hanks. And this looks awesome. I better go straight to streaming.
Probably.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But has Tom Hanks ever been in a western? I'm not sure if he ever has. I don't know. Not one I can think of.
No.
So it might be his first western.
And then down here.
But Tom Hanks can do any genre, so
Right.
he can do no wrong.
Like a chameleon. He can do comedy, he can do action, drama, he can do all of the above.
And I just want to say, no spoilers, but his latest cameo was beautiful.
His cameo in what was it in? Or is that a spoiler?
I don't want to spoil it. I'll put it in the private chat.
Okay. I was like trying to think. I'm like what was he in? But yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Oh, that's another one you got to get on. I never thought I'd say this before, but it's an endearing story.
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen.
My opinion, this one's better.
Okay. Good.
Man, Matt, maybe you and me should do a review on that movie. I would
Sure.
be down for that.
You know what?
Yeah.
I would be down if all you guys have seen it. If we actually just do a spoiler review some point this week.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I only watched the first hour because I had to run somewhere, so I still got to finish it. But I can finish it like before we do.
Yeah, I would be down for that because I got some.
Now
thoughts.
everyone's like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What could
When
it
you
be?
let me know.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm quickly looking
Stay
through
tuned.
his filmography, and yeah, he's never done a western.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
He's done
then,
war films, and he's done Prohibition, which I think is his earliest era he's done in a movie.
Yeah, he did
and
like
then
Wood
you
of
can count, and then you can count him as Woody.
Not
Yeah.
even close.
Sort of.
Yeah, no, that's his first.
Right on.
Okay, so with that, normally we go into sports. We went a little long, so we're going to jump into our top 5. But first, we just want to touch briefly on that insane game for the other night, finish. What were your guys' thoughts on that final play?
Whew. Poor Dodgers, man.
I know, right?
They
Like,
thought they had it. They thought they had it, and it was just dropping the ball. Because that is the worst thing for a catcher. And the
Right.
fact that the catcher's
Oh,
name
man.
is Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith dropped the ball.
No kidding, eh?
Yep, you just feel so bad for the guy, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, those things happen in baseball. Part of the
If
game.
they lose the series, because that is going to be the thing that people talk about is
That's
him
what I was gonna
during
say,
this game. So if they win, he's good. But if they lose, I think LA and probably a bunch of other people outside of LA are going to be talking shit.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. If they lose, this is going to go down in history as one of the biggest blunders in World Series history, right up there with Bill Buckner, right up there with Merkel's boner, which
I'm a Red Sox fan, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Merkel's boner.
No.
Essentially, the guy, he thought he'd hit the winning run, the winning run, but when he ran the bases, he didn't touch the base, second base. And with all the audience on the crowd, one of the opposing team's players realized it, and he had the ball and was chasing him and actually tagged him and got him out. It's
Wow. That's crazy.
Nuts. That I'll send the Wikipedia article on that in our chat because this is going to be up there with that in infamy.
Yeah, I just hope that the catcher, like his name is Will Smith, that he's doing okay. Because I know that the like fans nowadays, especially with social media, can be super super harsh. And because like I know that like I'm a huge Boise State fan. I remember we had one year where we were supposed to go undefeated. We were going to go to this to the Fiesta Bowl if we won this very last game against Nevada, and our kicker missed 3 field goals in one game, and so people were like pissed. So like he was getting all kinds of phone calls to his house. Like he even had his house got egged, and then he was getting death threats online. And like it was just crazy because one of my friends actually knew him. He grew up and went to high school with him. He just said that the kicker, name's Kyle Brotzman, was his name, but like he was just one of the nicest, just down to earth guys, and like it was just a mistake. And like all year long, he was making super crazy field goals. I think he made like a 52-yarder in one game. But when it counted though, he screwed up. He screwed up bad. But yeah, so hopefully he's not getting any of that. So
all I can say is if they do lose, moving in with his aunt and uncle is definitely not gonna get him away from all the trouble.
no, all right.
Yeah. Okay, so we touched briefly on the Dodgers, so now we're just going to dive right into our top 5 where we break down a different topic every week and we present our favorites in that topic. Now, as her very first top 5, we're going to let Saul introduce the topic.
So here we go. Those top 5 favorite comics storylines. And so go ahead and start with my 5.
I should just do the honorable mentions first.
Oh, the honorable mentions. Sure. So I have a few. Goes the Miss Marvel by G. Willow Wilson. Goes, and then I just bought it and it already made my honorable mentions. Superman Smashes the Klan.
Oh, nice.
That's definitely gone on my list of
That
ones
sounds
again.
cool.
Yeah, and then I added Preacher as my honorable mention from Garth Ennis, and then the Brian Michael Bendis Daredevil run.
Okay. Ben, do you have any honorable mentions?
yeah, I forget the title, but it's basically Howard the Duck means Deadpool. And
Didn't even know that existed.
yep, put it in the chat, but yep, and it's as crazy as you think it is.
Oh, nice.
Deadpool
I
and
love-
Howard combined into one entity.
Jesus.
I need
I
to
love
read
it.
that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love Deadpool. Like he's in my top 2 favorite comic book characters of all time. So
Yeah, Deadpool is amazing. Unfortunately, none of his are on my list. I've got 2 honorable mentions. One of them is was written by Jeff Johns. And like I alluded to before we started, it for modern DC continuity, you could argue it is probably the most important event to ever happen. And that is Infinite Crisis.
oh yeah.
Because with that, we've got the return of Jason Todd, and we have the return of the multiverse. And I just found a pay stub for my last job in the book. Good to know that. Okay.
Hey.
And then my other one, it's
Fun.
let's see how much I was making back then.
You want to show us on the camera? No, I'm just kidding. No,
$29 an hour.
Hey, that's
So that paycheck was
actually good money.
yeah.
That
You did
is good money.
And then my other honorable mention is it's not canon anymore, I don't think. And it's a miniseries written by John Ostrander that came out in the 90s. It's called The Kents.
Okay.
It's the story on how the Kent family arrived in Kansas, and it takes place in the backdrop of the American Civil War, and it's basically the story of 2 brothers, Jed Kent, and I can't remember the other brother's name off the top of my head, but basically they were on opposite sides of the Civil War, so it follows their journey. One of them stays true to the Union, and he becomes a marshal and all that stuff, and the other one becomes like a wanted outlaw. He fights for the Confederacy, and he's a bad guy, but he knows deep down he's good, just hasn't quite made amends yet. So I would definitely recommend those 2. And like I said, the Kents is
I just added that to my list.
yeah, the Kents is a great book that doesn't get much love.
Nice.
Yeah, and it also introduced me to characters of the American Civil War like I never heard of. Like you actually meet John Brown in there, who was one of the first abolitionists, and they argue that his death was one of the incidents that helped spur the Civil War.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Nice.
Okay. Well, do you have any honorable mentions, Jordan?
For me, I only have one. Is it's a Marvel comic called Nightcrawler Inferno. So it's about the character Nightcrawler and from the X-Men, and essentially in the book something happens where because Nightcrawler is a very religious person, so he ends up going to hell, and so it's about their whole entire journey that the X-Men take, and they enlist the help of Doctor Strange to try and get him out of hell, and so they go on this whole entire journey to hell, and like there's really different stages, like they call it like the 5 stages or something like that, but they go through all these different like this crazy journey to try and save Nightcrawler and get him out of hell. So yeah,
nice.
Yep. So I definitely recommend Nightcrawler.
I've never read a solo Nightcrawler book. I actually might add that to my list.
Yeah.
What I say we do is afterwards we put our list in the description. So if anybody wants to go back and read any of these, we should do that.
Definitely.
Okay. So you lead us off today, Saul. What is your number 5?
And do we want to preface this saying that we're going to have some spoilers?
Oh yeah. Granted, a lot of these books are fairly old-ish, so they're if you haven't read them by now, whatever. But yes, spoilers. Okay. So what is this book, Saul?
Thor: God of Thunder by Jason Aaron.
All right.
By who?
And it is Jason Aaron.
Okay.
And so it has this one, and then the second one is God Bomb, but the first one's God Butcher. So this one, basically, you have Thor in, let's go, 893 AD. You have modern Thor in as an Avenger, and then you have Thor with the Thor Force, not Odin Force, Thor Force. So you have all 3 Thors.
Thor Force.
Okay.
Yes.
Thor Force.
So just explain that. Is it like the Odin Force? Just
it is like the Odin Force because Odin is no longer with. So
Gotcha.
with to Thor. So Thor Force.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's fun to say, Thor Force.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister. Are
And
you Thor? Well, it hurts. Probably one of my favorite jokes from an Aladdin movie.
Yeah.
so, and then you have Gore the God Butcher. So he's going around and basically killing gods. And so Thor has to kind of basically fight him. And it's a very interesting, you get all three Thors, they all three team up together, but it's kind of like you get to see where this character, Gore the God Butcher, is all the way back to old Thor in 893 AD. So like you kind of like see how this character has gone through, and I don't want to spoil the origin of where Gore comes from, but when you see the reason why he is the God Butcher, kind of like you're like, wow, okay. So there's some like religious kind of tones in it because it is about like God worshiping and going against gods, but it is very interesting, and that's my number 5.
Added to my list because I really want to read about Thor the God Butcher.
Right.
Okay, Ben, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is the Nightfall series.
Yeah, boy.
Batman and how Bane breaks his back and that whole thing.
Okay.
And what can I say about it? It's iconic. I love it. They incorporated into the
Let's see if Matt has it.
Matt has it.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah, they show you Bane is a badass, and maybe he could have done a little bit better in the Dark Knight Rises. I don't know. But yeah, that's my number 5.
It was peak Bane in the comic books. He never got any higher than that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, my number 5 is an Eisner Award-winning, Eisner Award-winning writer who wrote it. Was made into a movie that we've all seen. It's Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's the only Marvel book on my list. Not because I don't like Marvel. It's just DC comic books tend to relate to me a lot more. But this is probably one of my favorite. Right after Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, this is my favorite artist run on a comic book. Going from this, it goes all the way through Civil War, and again with the return of Captain America, like so many good things. The difference between this and the movie, in the comic book, it's the Russians that recruit the Winter Soldier, not Hydra. You've got the Red Skull as the primary villain. You have more play with Sharon Carter. You meet other characters like Nomad, Jack Monroe. The movie is one of my favorite Marvel movies, don't get me wrong, but I think the comic book is better because it explores more of
better than that movie.
it explores more of the background between Captain America and Bucky, and it also adds a wrinkle to Bucky that they don't have in the movies. In the comic books, originally he was just a sidekick, a la Robin. With this comic book, they've actually retconned it, so no, him being Captain America's sidekick was actually like a cover. He was a super spy who actually went in and did things that superheroes and other soldiers were not comfortable doing.
Okay.
Winter Soldier-esque before he became the Winter Soldier.
So now added to my list because that is one of my favorite movies. That's probably in my top 5 of the MCU.
Yeah. Like I said, movie's great. The book's better. And that's
usually how it goes.
That's literally the first part of his run, and after that, you've got a whole great run. That's where we have Bucky Barnes as Captain America is in Ed Brubaker's run.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's my number 5. What is yours, Jordan?
Yeah. So my number 5 is like probably my most off the cusp kind of like unique one, but it's a series Chew. So Chew is written by Rob Gilroy, and it's actually an Image comic, is what it is, and it revolves around a character called Tony Chu, who he's a detective, and he works for this detective agency, and they go to investigate that. So they have this kind of weird thing. I guess like in the comic, there's a chicken shortage, so there's just no chickens to be found anywhere. But there's people that are secretly have found some, and they're actually breeding them, and they're serving chicken, but chicken has been outlawed, so there's a prohibition, like a chicken prohibition, which is kind of crazy. But they and so they go to kind of these like underground kind of like mob like type places, like they call actually in the book they call it chicken speakeasy, and they go there to investigate like where these guys are getting chicken from, like why are they selling it? This is just totally illegal. They can't be selling it. And then so
50.
and the main character, he realizes that after eating some chicken, he actually orders some from the restaurant, and he eats some, and he starts to get all these weird premonitions. And then he realizes that he has a psychic ability that whenever he eats human flesh, that he can see their past and insight into their life, and they find out they're actually cutting all the chicken with human flesh. And so there's all these murders going on, crazy. Like it's actually a pretty violent comic. Actually, it shows a lot of murders and a lot of gruesome kind of blood splatters and things like that.
Kind of Sweeney Todd-ish.
Yeah. So when
I'm down.
when he gets to the crime scene, like he'll just go up to the dead body and he'll just pull off a little piece and he'll just eat it because he can get the like psychic premonition, and so that's how he gets his readings. And so yeah, it's a pretty fun, interesting book. It actually has a lot of humor in it as far as like how gory it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of iZombie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, iZombie. That's another show that's on my list. I've heard of that. It's pretty good actually, but yeah, that's pretty much Chew. So yeah, and it's a pretty long series, and they actually have a few spin-offs to the series. So yeah, but it's an easy one to find. You look for Chew. So
very nice. Okay, your number 4 is all.
Batman, Court of Owls.
I have that also as well.
So even though I only have one Marvel in my top 5, I consider myself more of a Marvel person, but Batman is like my ish. I love Batman. And so just this completely recontextualized stuff with Gotham. And I just love jumping in and seeing the Court of Owls. I hope that we see it in the Batman movie. Because I hope that we see
it in the next Arkham game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're seeing it in the next Arkham game. So I just think that this story is so good. There's so much more to be to take from the Court of Owls. Just reading this, and I was like, okay, DC, you're getting my money.
Yeah, it's one of the best. Like the New 52 was overall a failure, but that is one of the best stories to come out of the New 52.
Because I was just like, when I try to go to read the other New 52s, like nothing excited me in the way that this book excited me. Yeah. And I just fully recommend it to everyone.
No, it's definitely a great choice. Yeah, I got a feeling if the Court of Owls would definitely fit well in this new Batman world that we're going to be getting. I 100% agree with you with that. So I hope we do get to see that too, because that'd be pretty dope.
We haven't talked about it, right? It's rumored or reported on, or
I haven't heard anything. I don't know.
I've heard rumors, and I think that it's possible that it could be like that they'll really be in the background, but focused more on like the second or third movie. I think like Joker is supposed to be like the third movie, and I think Court of Owls might be like the second. Is what the rumors that I've been hearing.
I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, me neither. Like the Court of Owls is a great concept for sure.
Yep.
And I wonder. Never mind. I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
But
so
yeah,
what's your number 4 then? Or sorry, did you have something to say, Jordan?
I was going to say that's a comic book I definitely want to read, because like when people started talking about the Court of Owls from the new was it Gotham Knights game that's going to be on, that like I was just like, what's the Court of Owls? I don't even know what that is. I need to like do some research and read some comics. So yeah,
I recommend
do yourself a favor.
Yeah, not just Court of Owls. I recommend reading all of Scott Snyder's Batman run from that time.
Okay,
like honestly, it was the best book in that series, and there were some okay ones, but that one is the one.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And that's where my earlier faux pas of Scott Snyder.
Yeah. And now
I put him out on
you listen to your authors before we went on air, and then now it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he might be a silly question, and if it is, I'm sorry. Oh, Scott and Zach brothers?
no relation.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
No relation.
Okay.
So
I
then
That'd be cool.
you're number 4.
Yeah.
My number 4 is the Age of Apocalypse.
Okay.
Nice.
Right on. I love me some X-Men.
Soda's just helping you out here.
I know. I appreciate it.
We got every single one of our comic
Entire
books.
omnibus for $40.
Oh,
The complete series.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know it because I think Apocalypse is a really cool character, and I love the relationship between I'm throwing a blank now, between Charlotte and Magneto, and I mean I really can't say all that much, but yeah, another incredible story.
100%. The movie did not do Apocalypse justice.
No,
Which
not at
makes
all.
me sad that Oscar
Sad.
Isaac played Apocalypse and then it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the stuff that we got out of that comic book, like for me, it's the one-armed Wolverines. Like that's pretty cool.
That sounds pretty cool because like I am a huge X-Men fan, but I've never read X-Men Apocalypse, so that's on my list.
Yeah, I got the comic book store when I lived in Vancouver that I would frequent, Golden Age Collectibles, free plug. They would have like these deals, and I walked in and they had that omnibus and the New Avengers omnibus for like $40, and those was like $200 books.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yes.
deal.
When you said this was $40 and then you brought it out and I was like, that thick thing for $40?
Yeah.
Yep, even Canadian
And
dollars, that's a great
That's
deal.
how much I spent for my next book. My number 3 was $40.
My number 1's my most expensive book, and you'll see why.
I think I have a guess what your number 1 is.
Yeah, I have a little bit too.
Well,
But
yeah, I
I
think
will
I might
say-
have shown it before. My number 4 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're number 4.
So it's written by J. Michael Straczynski, and it is called Superman Grounded.
okay.
So for this one, my words couldn't eloquently describe it, so I took the brief plot synopsis from Wikipedia. So this story takes place after the new Krypton event in Superman, which was basically Kryptonians were found to actually have survived. They created a colony above Earth, and it ended up becoming this really shit went wrong. Let's just say that. So the synopsis is following the year-long New Krypton storyline. The story depicts Superman's return to Earth after residing on New Krypton. Exiting a congressional hearing about the 100-Minute War, he is confronted with the notion that he has grown disconnected from everyday Americans he has been committed to watching over and doesn't truly know what his adopted people are like anymore. Feeling a responsibility to his adopted homeland, he begins a long journey where he will walk across the United States to reconnect with the everyday people he's committed to protecting.
Okay.
And those are like the Superman stories that I like. I haven't read that yet, but with me, Superman always seems to OP. So I like the stories where he's more grounded. So that
Yeah,
sounds
agreed.
super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
agreed. Superman, it's hard for me. Like he's like the prime. He's not my number 1, but it's like he is God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have I love a lot of different Superman storylines. But yes, I agree with you 100%. It's the ones where you explore the humanity behind Clark Kent, Superman, that I gravitate towards. That's why I love books like The Kents, because that explores his family's origins. Superman Grounded, Superman Birthright, which is it's an origin of Superman, but it's again explores who he is. Secret Origins. It's like there's a lot of good content out there about who he is fundamentally. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
It is a two-part. It is a 2-volume series. Just throw that out there.
Oh, cool.
Your turn, Jordan.
Yeah.
All right. So I do kind of want to preface this, but saying I do not have any DC comics on my list. I just didn't really grow up reading DC comics. I just read more Marvel comics. I actually had a cousin and an uncle that that had a ton of the Marvel comics that they would let me borrow all the time. They just didn't really have any at DC. But I do want to mention that probably my honorable mention. I should have definitely mentioned The Dark Knight by Frank Miller. That's an amazing DC comic, and also The Swamp Thing from the '80s by Alan Moore. Those are two of my favorite comic books. So from DC. So, but my next one on my list is actually it's a Spider-Man comics. Anyone who knows me, I'm a massive Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man, I grew up reading Spider-Man comic. He's my favorite character. My best friend got me this huge, massive Spider-Man frame like wall art that when I get my new studio finally set up in our new house after we move at the end of the year, I'm going to have that probably in the background, so you'll eventually see it. So, but it's like a shot of Spider-Man climbing up the wall, but it's looking down on him as he's coming up at it. So it's a really cool like shot of it. So, but my comic is the Spider-Man Kraven's Last Hunt. So I actually love
one.
Yeah, so I actually love Kraven the Hunter. That's one character I wanted to see on screen so bad. He's my favorite Spider-Man villain. Him and also Mysterio, and we just got Mysterio, which like I really liked it. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm in love with it with the portrayal, but I really liked it a lot. So, but for a Kraven though, this is a really powerful story because Kraven, for anyone who doesn't know who he is, he's a hunter as his name says, but like he just loves to go out hunting, and he hunts villains, he hunts heroes, he hunts pretty much everyone. And Spider-Man has always been the one character that's always eluded him. So like he's never been able to capture Spider-Man, never been able to kill him, never been able to do any of that. So I wrote a few notes of just some of my thoughts. There's a lot of fun coming up with these. I got to go back and read a lot of comic books this week, so that was cool. But just some of my takeaways from Kraven's Last Hunt is that one, he was trying to prove some things to himself. So one, he wanted to prove himself that he could defeat the spider. Two, he wanted to prove that he could kill the spider. Three, he wanted to prove that he could be the spider. And then four, he wanted to prove that he was better than the spider. So basically, in the comic book, he essentially tries to lure Spider-Man out into the open, and he can't seem to really do it. And so he even goes as far as to impersonate Spider-Man. He has one of his costumes. He has the black costume from one of the battles that he had with Spider-Man, and he puts it on, and he's portraying a Spider-Man. He even goes out and he sends some thugs to go after Mary Jane because so she's walking home one night, and these thugs go after her, and then out of nowhere, Spider-Man just like shows up out of nowhere with the black costume on, and he's beating up these guys, but he's doing it in like a super violent way, just like way more violent than Spider-Man would ever do it. And so like she, right off the bat, like something's wrong here. This isn't Peter. This isn't my Peter. This is someone different. So eventually he gets exposed as Kraven the Hunter, and so they find out that it's not actually Peter, that it's Kraven. And then Kraven actually, and I have to look at what the name was. He kidnapped another villain, but I can't remember. Oh, his name was Vermin. So he catches this other villain named Vermin, which is one of the toughest villains that Spider-Man ever fought, and so it is one Spider-Man wasn't able to beat. So it's like this show of power. Ha ha! I captured Vermin, and you couldn't do it. And my final thoughts that I just kind of wrote out here, that they thought as he captured Vermin for Spider-Man, or one villain Spider-Man had never defeated on his own, that he had proved to be Peter's superior. As soon as he witnessed the fight, he knew he was wrong. He saw the embodiment of what made Spider-Man a hero and realized it was the man, not the spider, that had beaten him for all those years. As he watched Spider-Man take compassion on Vermin, who was is like total enemy, but we took compassion on him. You saw what he was missing, and then at the end of it, it actually drives Craven the Hunter to suicide. So at the very last scene, you see him take a shotgun to his mouth, and he kills himself. Spoiler alert! But yeah, so
yeah, Craven's dying, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a really powerful ending to that. So like that, just like especially the ending, it really got me. Like he just wants to be better than Spider-Man, and he just can't do it in like any way. You can't capture him, you can't kill him, you can't be a better man than him. You can't do anything. So it just drives him to suicide at the end. So it's just crazy.
I know you said you wanted him in movies, and I 100% agree with you. And it can be done with the after credit scene we saw in Far From Home. It's the perfect opportunity to introduce Craven and do a variation of Craven's Last Hunt.
Yes, I think so. But we kind of have to have.
Isn't there a Craven movie though in development with Sony at the moment?
Yeah,
but also those Spider-Man movies are also part Sony. You can tie them.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to get the perfect actor for it. I have no idea who could play Craven. He's a Russian guy in the comics, so I mean, I'm not really sure who could really play him, but I don't know. We'll see.
They've got. I'm sure that for some reason Joe Manganiello popped in my head.
Yeah, he would actually be.
He physically looks like a Craven the Hunter, you know.
Yeah, it'd be a good pick actually.
All right, Sol, you're number 3.
So my number 3, I think this is one that everyone loves. So we had a movie, we had a TV show. Watchmen.
Ooh, yeah.
Goes, and I just
what version of that do I have?
want to preface goes. So
I've got the one with that cover.
You got another one.
So this one was, I spent $40 on this, and the reason I spent $40 on this one was because it was the only one available at Barnes & Noble, and I was required to read it for a class in college.
Fuck off, really?
So I was in a required English. I was in a required English class, and my teacher was a huge nerd, and he decided that we were going to read this. We were going to read the comic book version of Hamlet, and that we were going to read this fantasy novel.
Oh.
So he, and I was just like, this is the best teacher ever. I'm reading comic books for college credit.
That's amazing.
So before then, I had not read this wonderful story, and if you have not read it, I recommend. I also want to, I guess, full spoilers, the ending of the movie is different from the ending of the comic. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to go, but there's extra art and stuff. That's why it was $40.
Oh yeah, no
art in the back.
Nice.
And that's one of the best things with the show is that going forward, it was like the sequel that we all wanted with Watchmen. And so I guess there's much more to say than just how amazing this book is, and go read it if you haven't.
Yeah, at this point, if you haven't read Watchmen and you're a comic book nerd, what's wrong with you?
Right.
It's seminal.
It is. Yep, and the TV series blew me away. I actually love the TV series. A little split on the movie, but I kind of have mixed thoughts. But on the TV series, it was just hands down amazing.
The movie's another one. Watch the director's cut, the 4-hour director's cut.
Speaking of Zack Snyder again.
Yeah. All right, Ben, you're number 3.
My number 3 is the Florida Saga of the Spider-Man.
Okay.
You have that one, man?
Yes.
He's got it.
That was a complete saga.
I'm surprised you didn't have Craven's Last Hunt.
I have it digitally.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I like it because I like all the different variations of the different types of Spider-Man. I like the story with Ben Riley. Mm-hmm. I like, that concept of it is very interesting to me. How one thing can go in a different direction and make a different Spider-Man. What else can I say? It's
Yeah.
very cool to me.
Yeah, it's a storyline that gets maligned a lot, but it's pretty good. And I want to throw this out there. If you love the Clone Saga, Ben, read what the name was it? Spider-Man Life Story.
Okay.
They actually do a
yes.
really good variation on the Clone Saga that I'm not going to spoil, but it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta read
That
those.
is another recommend goes honorable mention. Spider-Man Life Story.
My buddy Dave over at my other channel recommended it to me to read it, and I finished it like in an hour. It was so good.
Now, is the Clone Saga?
Clone?
Is it the one that has Madam Web and she brings in like a bunch of different like ones from the Spider-Verse? Or am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of the TV show.
Well, it's a TV show, but there's also like she's in some comics I know, but
yeah, I don't think she wasn't in Clone Saga, was she, Ben?
I don't remember.
Huh.
And then I don't know.
the TV show too, though, that a cool story of the Clone Saga too.
Yeah. Now, is it me or is Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider costume underrated?
Underrated.
Underrated.
Yep,
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Okay, my number 3 is another one that I'm pretty sure a lot of us know of. It's written by Judd Winnick, and it actually ties into one of my honorable mentions, like how I said earlier that Infinite Crisis was the impetus for a lot of major events to happen in DC in the last 20 years, and this comic book is a direct representation of that. It is Judd Winnick's Under the Red Hood.
Oh yeah, yep.
Because in Infinite Crisis, Superboy Prime breaks out of the prison that they were in, and every time he smashes that wall, he sends a ripple effect through the DC universe, and one of them was the resurrection of Jason Todd. Now, what's interesting is, yes, he's still alive, but everyone remembers his death. And the book, in the book, Jason Todd forces Batman to confront his greatest failure, and that was Jason Todd. Because he's the only Robin to die. He's the only Robin to not lead the straight and narrow. He's the only one that he couldn't control. And that is Batman's greatest failure is the death of Jason Todd. And I will say the animated movie that came from this is the best DC animated movie.
Yeah, I've seen the animated movie and it's phenomenal. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's in the animated. I will need to read the book because I've seen the animated.
You guys haven't read the book?
No,
I haven't. No.
There's a lot of similarities, like a lot of stuff the same between the movie and the book, but yeah, the book, it just goes more into the psychological aspect of it more.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. 50. Our resident fifth Beatle, as it were.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 3, the reintroduction of Jason Todd, which was hinted at in Hush, which is definitely my top 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely read Batman Under the Red Hood. I got a feeling we're all about with new reading material from this.
Definitely, and also like I just want to. We have more time now because it was pushed back, but I've been wanting to read a lot more Batman comics. So like either reread or read new ones or read ones that I hadn't caught up before for the movie. So now I just got more time.
I could definitely give you a list of some good DC comics.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I need a good list too because I've been like lacking in my DC reading.
Yeah, I will agree with Jordan. Like what I said before, I was more of a Marvel reader, but I always like gravitated towards Batman.
For me,
same.
The reason why I'm more of a DC, it's not just that it connects with me, but also because the books were cheaper at the time.
Yeah, but I will say though,
50th Beetle 50. You're our 5th Beetle.
Yes. Yeah, but when I say that kind of gravitated towards Batman, it's like solely because of the villains. I love the Batman villains. Best villain of like any comic book, hands down. They have the best like set of villains.
100%. Okay, what is your number 3, Jordan?
Yeah, so my number 3 is actually a Deadpool comic. So, so it's actually technically called Deadpool number 11, but as a subtitle that's called with great power comes great coincidence. And I really wanted to bring out like half of my comic book collection and like show all the covers, but I'm in the middle of it are just packed up. So, but that story though is like one of the most hilarious comic books you'll ever read. So basically what happened is you have the Watchers. So it'll start out with the Watchers, and they're like having to intervene because they see this event happening where somehow Deadpool and it's Deadpool and Blind Owl. So from the movie, Blind Owl, the old black lady that he's with, they get transported back in time to the golden age of comics with the golden age of Spider-Man comics. So they go back to like some of the very first Spider-Man comics, and it shows them interacting in just like some of the most craziest ways. You see a Blind Owl making best friends with Aunt May, and they're kind of palling around, and like she just says like the craziest things. She always wants to drink, and she always wants to like go out partying with Aunt May and stuff. And then you actually have Kraven the Hunter in that story. Actually, you see a Deadpool totally screwing around with Kraven the Hunter, just totally just messing with his head and everything, and then also messing with Peter Parker also. And then you also see Mary Jane in there a little bit too. He kind of messes with her too, but it's just like joke after hilarious joke after hilarious joke, and it's just so funny. Like for me to even repeat any of it, I wouldn't be able to do it justice. You really have to read it, but with great power comes great coincidence. That's my number 3, and I would definitely recommend that. That's like one of the funniest Deadpool comic that exists. It's
Deadpool from the Hair. Beautiful.
Yeah,
it is super funny. And another, like, if you want to see Deadpool and Spider-Man together, is the Joe Kelly Spider-Man Deadpool comic.
I put in our messenger chat my favorite Deadpool page ever.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that, and actually the Deadpool comic was also written by Joe Kelly as well. So Joe Kelly writes some of the best Deadpool material. Like he's a great writer. So yeah.
So on to my number 2.
Yep. Yes,
So,
too.
last week when I forget who asked it, but they said, what is your favorite show that you think is wonderful top to bottom? And I said Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I am a massive Avatar: The Last Airbender fan. And so one of the great things is when that show ended, there was comic books that started immediately where the end of the show. So like the last thing with the show, which spoiler, those Aang and Katara kiss. And so then that is immediately where the comics start and go on.
Oh, perfect.
So one of the things that we wanted to know from the original Avatar: The Last Airbender is what the hell happened to Zuko's mom. And it was hinted at in Legend of Korra. It was asked to Katara by Jinora, and then Iki comes in and like completely says something else, and we're like, no, what happened? What? We need to know. And then the search came out. This is a 3-parter, because it is the third like 3-parter book of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is by Jin Luin Yang, and Guri Hiru is the artist. And that's the same people who did the art for, same person who wrote and same art as this one. So I don't want to spoil because I know Soda needs to see Avatar: The Last Airbender, but we get to finally find out what happens to Zuko's mom.
I think we all need to see it.
My D&D game was canceled tonight, and I've already started a rewatch of The Office, but I might put that on hold, and I might finally start Avatar: The Last Bender.
Awesome. Because the thing too is like you just see kind of like Zuko and his sister Azula, who is one of the bad guys in the show, and you kind of just see like where they stood, what happened with their mom, why they ended up the way they are, and a little bit what ended up, why the mother was even part of the Fire Nation at all, like in the Fire Nation royal family. So it's great, and I recommend watching the show. I recommend reading all of the comics, but this is my favorite comic of the Avatar comics. So yeah.
Right on.
Sounds good.
Nice.
You can see how excited I am.
Yes.
Yep. Now we know what you're saying. You're happy.
Yep.
Pretty much. All right, Ben, you're number 2.
It's been a while since I read it, so I've forgotten some of the details. But Days of Future Past.
Yes.
Yes.
I love.
It's one of my favorite comic books as well.
They made a movie of it. I love the time travel aspect. I don't care that they changed it to Wolverine in the movie because it makes sense, but
Yeah.
In the comic books, it was Kitty Pryde they sent back, right?
Yep. And I love that they had. I just love it.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
it's a great book. I've only read it the one time. Another one I own digitally, so unfortunately I couldn't bring that one out. But yeah, it's a good book. I don't really know what else to say that hasn't been already said about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
What
Yep.
about you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those classic X-Men comic books. Like it's one when I first started reading X-Men, actually, that like I reread like a bunch of times. I probably reread it like 3 or 4 times, and yeah, it's actually like that and the Uncanny X-Men. Those two are like the two of the X-Men run that really got me in the X-Men comics, because probably besides Spider-Man and Deadpool, X-Men's probably third on my list as like all-time favorite superheroes. So just give me X-Men all day, every day. So.
I mean, it's a staple for any X-Men fan, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's also one of those movies that like that 50 Shades mentioned is a midquel too. So
That is true.
It has past, present, and future. Yeah.
Okay then. My number 2. It is number 2, but it is actually the book I've read the most. It is another one of Jeff Johns. It is called Final Crisis: Legion of Three Worlds.
Okay.
So basically, this is from the back of the book. Superboy Prime. Let me restart this. 2 Supermen, 3 legions, dozen of villains, only 1 victor. Superboy Prime is a remorseless killer, a spoiled brat with no conscience, and the unstoppable power of Superman. Now he's been let loose on the 31st century at a time when the Legion of Superheroes, the defenders of the future, are scattered, demoralized, and on the brink of disbanding. When Prime unites all of the future's most dangerous villains beneath his banner with the sole goal of wiping the Legion out once and for all, not even the arrival of Superman can tip the scales in the Legion's favor, but Brainiac 5 has a plan. The Legion may be doomed, but 3 legions from 3 different realities have at least a fighting chance. Now, all fan-favorite Legionnaires who've worn a flight ring unite for the first and last time ever, and the present and the future will never be the same. So basically, this story unites, at the time, the current version of the Legion of Superheroes. It also brings in the 2004 version and the 1994 version, which was lost into time. Now, also, this comic book is also major because it resurrected 2 characters that had died in Infinite Crisis. Connor Kent's Superboy and Kid Flash.
Okay.
They were brought back to life to fight Superboy Prime because Superboy killed them both. It is a great comic book. Like I said, it's probably the one I've read the most. It definitely... let me put it this way. Go read it. It also gave me the inspiration for my second tattoo, which is the tattoo that Lightning Lad has in this comic book.
Hey,
Oh, cool.
that's a pretty sick tat.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it is another Jeff Johns book. Art done by George Perez. That's why.
Hey, you did a me.
I did.
Yeah.
So definitely read it. Like I said, it is a great book. It is not one you hear talked about a lot, but it is definitely worth reading.
Yeah.
And yes, Days of Future Pasta.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that would sit in one's stomach.
Yep.
Okay, Jordan, you're number 2.
All right. So my number 2 is one that I hope most of you have read, but we'll see. But is actually Marvel House of M. So, and Marvel House of M is like for me an incredible, amazing comic book that has a lot to do with the Scarlet Witch. Yes, Marvel House of M. Awesome. So, and essentially what happens in the comic book, and you can't really talk about Marvel House of M without talking about the Avengers Disassembled. The Avengers Disassembled pretty much is part of the House of M story. I consider it part of it because you have just the all the Avengers are just chilling at their big mansion, and then all of a sudden, I think it's the Jack of Hearts. He shows up at the door. You have Scott Lang, Ant-Man. He answers the door, and then all of a sudden, like, he just explodes because he was already dead, and then somehow he came back, and then he just explodes, and he kills Scott Lang. So Scott Lang's dead, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kree ships start attacking, and everyone's like, what the frick's going on? Like, this is horrible timing. Why is this happening? And then you see the Vision come in, and like he just starts like shooting missiles and throwing bombs at all the Avengers. Like he's attacking them, and they're like, "What is going on? Why is this happening?" So the She-Hulk gets like super pissed off, and she runs and she rips the Vision into two pieces, just kills him. So he's dead. And then when the Kree mothership starts coming down, you see Hawkeye trying to shoot a whole barrage of his explosive arrows at the Kree ship, but before he can do it, the Kree ship shoots his arrows, making them explode. But as they're exploding, Hawkeye has the She-Hulk fling himself at the Kree ship, and so he destroys the whole entire Kree ship. But then Hawkeye's dead. So it's just crazy. All this stuff's happening, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" So. And the Marvel House of M really ties into every single Marvel character that exists. Like it ties into everything. And so you have Professor Xavier. He has this vision with his mind reading that this all ties into the Scarlet Witch. So then flash forward to where the House of M actually legitimately starts. You see the Scarlet Witch giving birth to two little twins, to two children, but we find out later that children aren't even real. It's just the construct of the Scarlet Witch just losing her mind. She's not able to control her powers, but in her mind, she thinks these kids are actually real. And then something happens. The kids die. I can't remember exactly what happens, but the kids die, and so she freaks out. And it also ties in the Magneto and also Quicksilver, which is Magneto's
it also
son.
has these three immortal words that laid groundwork to.
I can't see it. I got to expand the screen.
No more mutants.
No more mutants.
Yeah, no more mutants. Yeah, so basically, though, you have Magneto on the, so he's always on the mutant side, but you also have Quicksilver and who wants to put an end to all the mutants, and he actually comes up with a way to trick Scarlet Witch to just say, what you should do is you should give every single superhero like their wildest dream, the thing that would make them the most like the happiest thing in the entire world, and you need to just give it to them, and then we'll just be done with all this fighting, done with all of this chaos. And so she does it, and so they flash forward again. They all wake up. They're living this like totally like just happy life. So you see Peter Parker. You see him. He's married to Gwen Stacy. Actually has a son, and so like and he's also with Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben's still alive, so he's just living a super happy life. You see Cyclops married to Emma Frost. You flash forward to like so many different characters. You just see them just living like super happy lives, and then you see Wolverine. He kind of wakes up and he realizes that like something's wrong. This isn't right, and like he has memories. I don't know if it's because of his healing factor. I don't know why he remembers it, but he does. And so he remembers everything from the past life. And he's like, this is wrong. So basically, to make it kind of a long story short, he goes around to every single superhero to tell them of the real world, to like try and beg with them and plead with them to like say, hey, this isn't the real, this isn't right, that we're actually living in this other life. And he finds this other, I forget the name of the girl, but there's a girl that he finds who also can remember. She has that power to remember that thing. That's like her specific power. And so they're just trying to convince Scarlet Witch that to put everything back to normal, because they go around and they wake everybody up. And so all these superheroes start freaking out that like this world isn't real, and and that they actually had this past life, and it's like, and so they're all super pissed, and so they all go after Scarlet Witch. And even Professor Xavier says, "We got to kill Scarlet Witch. Like she can't live anymore if she's gonna do this to us. She's too dangerous. She can't control her powers. We got to kill her." And so they have this huge battle, but at the end, they go and they find Magneto, because they're like, someone's got to be behind this besides Scarlet Witch, and they think it's Magneto. So they go to Magneto, and actually Magneto's living in a big giant palace, and he's now named Lord Magnus, and he's just there because Scarlet Witch gave him his ultimate desire. But really, in the end, what the plot twist is, spoiler alert, you can mute it if anyone doesn't want to be spoiled, but they find out that it wasn't Magneto all along. It's actually Quicksilver who actually planned this, who actually tricked Scarlet Witch in the beginning and wanted to destroy all the mutants. So that was his way of trying to do it, but it completely backfires. So eventually they get things back to their normal reality, and they go back to the way things once were. But it's just, like, for me, I get super excited about this because I also think that this is a huge tie-in to WandaVision. I'm totally convinced that WandaVision is House of M. It's going to be a House of M. That's what
I was going to comment, saying that that comic makes me so excited for WandaVision, and kind of going off of what 50 said. The twins are seen in the trailer for WandaVision, and I think we're going to have a reverse of, instead of no more mutants, I think she's going to say mutants, and that's how the X-Men are going to come into the
you think Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness will also tie into this House of M aspect? Like, I know Wanda's going to be in it and all that stuff, but do you think it's still going to be part of that big storyline?
Yeah.
I think that Wanda is going to become the villain for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, okay.
So,
the House of M thing, will make sense.
I can just see her freaking out and just losing it on like everybody, and maybe even like a huge group of heroes have to come together to fight her. So
now, honestly, I think those of us who've read House of M are probably the most excited for WandaVision, because we know what could potentially come.
Yeah.
What I really want to know, like, what I'm excited is Monica Rambeau, and see what exactly her part is in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's the girl that like Wolverine finds. Monica Rambeau. That's the name of right.
Yeah. And and we saw her already as a little girl in the MCU and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, she's the little black girl.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
She wasn't her best friend?
No, in the movie, it's her mom who's Carol's best friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm super excited because what the Kevin Feige and the MCU are like doing to like pull all the best stories from like comic books. They're really doing like a really good job to pull from that existing material. And I really wish there's something that they would do with Star Wars, honestly, that they would pull from some of the awesome, amazing stories that we have, but they really haven't done it. And
I think that's what they're going to end up doing, like with the High Republic, with all of those books and comic books. I think they're just trying to create more that they can pull from for the movies.
Yeah, and I was super excited for them to do the movies based on the Knights of the Old Republic. I was really hoping for that, but it didn't happen. But never say never,
100%. Okay, so now the moment of truth, our number one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this number one is actually an Image comic.
Okay.
And I would like to say, take Romeo and Juliet and take Star Wars and just go.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like Lost Stars.
Saga.
Oh, okay. Saga.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of this.
So I'll read the back. Saga is the sweeping tale of one young family fighting to find their place in the universe when two soldiers from opposite sides of a never-ending galactic war fall in love. They risk everything to bring a fragile new life into a dangerous old world. Fantasy and science fiction are wed like never before in the first volume of this sexy, subversive, ongoing epic. And what's sad right now is this book is on hiatus. They left it with a cliffhanger. There's 9 volumes. Yeah, 9 volumes. And they told us that they're only halfway through. This is Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, some of the most beautiful art. And actually, what you see, the very first thing is her giving birth. So you this story is, absolutely beautiful. It is so good. Koi Jandrew talks about it. Amy Dallin talks about Saga so much. So, like, if they like it, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why I've even heard of Saga is because of those two, and why I've actually kind of checked it out a little bit. I've only read just a little bit of it digitally, but like it looks super amazing. Like it's something
it is
I want to read
beautiful
more.
art. And there's this character called Lying Cat. So, like, if you're around the cat and you say something that's a lie, the cat says lying. And so there's this beautiful moment. This book really goes very deep. There's this child who was a child sex slave and then ends up getting rescued, and she's with Lion Cat, and she's basically saying, like, oh, I'm not worth anything, look at everything that I did, and the cat's like lying, and tears while reading this, because the cat was validating this girl, saying, no, you're worth something. So yeah.
Okay, I'm sold.
So yeah, this is my favorite comic book out there, and oh man, I hope COVID doesn't push it back where this hiatus is even longer than it should be, because yeah, it's already been like a year.
Oh, since the last issue dropped?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I really miss Collider Heroes, so we can find out about cool comics like this. But I mean, we need something like that's like that. I mean, you can watch the individual channels. Koi still talks a lot about that stuff, but still, I miss Collider Heroes.
So yeah, Saga, Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, beautiful art, beautiful story. Definitely read it.
On my list now. All right, Ben, you're number one.
The Death and Reign of Superman.
Okay. We got it.
I don't know why Soda sits down. He should just bring out all of his comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a second to find it. Keep talking.
Okay. Well, what can I say? Doomsday comes to kill Superman. Singing changed comics forever. But after that, I heard when Superman died, it made like the news. Everybody everybody was in shock of what happened. And then watching it, it's so great. And then when Superman came back, and I'm not going to spoil it, but he was different. And then another Superman showed up, and another, and another. Mm-hmm. And then we had like 5 Superman, but none of them were the real one until. I'm not going to give everything away, but it's a beautiful story. I loved it. They made 2 amazing movies of it, animated movies about it, and tried to make it in live action. Batman v Superman. They didn't work so hard, but yeah.
There is a part of that series that I feel doesn't get its due. Because everyone talks about, you got the death of Superman, you got the return of Superman, but nobody talks about the middle part of that trilogy, which is A World Without Superman, which I think is just as good. It essentially deals with what it's like now that Superman's gone. It bands all the heroes together. And just like there's a scene in here where like there's that beautiful image of Superman's funeral. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
There's also a moment in here where somebody's trying to peddle merchandise, Superman merchandise on the street. Somebody confronts him and gives him shit, but the guy's like, look, my house got destroyed doing my place got destroyed doing this. My wife left me. I'm just trying to make money to support myself. You just see a lot of shit like that. And you also see Superman's navigation through the afterlife.
Oh, nice.
Where he talks to his dad and stuff like that, and it sets forward the motion, the motion towards the return.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
It is. Have you two read Death of Superman trilogy?
Well,
No,
I haven't actually. No.
I need to read it.
Okay, so the Death of Superman book, one of the coolest things that they did, and it's not something you notice at first, is with every issue, the closer it gets to the death, every issue, the number of panels on the page decreases by 1.
Oh, wow.
really?
So the final issue is just giant
interesting.
page after giant page.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's kind of like in the episode of How I Met Your Mother where Marshall's dad dies. You have the count. Same, like very subtle, but it's essentially counting down to the death.
And I love artistic touches like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
subtle things like that.
That's a great pick, Ben. I'm glad somebody had it on their list.
DeSoto, what's your number one?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine's another trilogy, and at first I was like, "Oh, this might be cheap," but then I dug a little deeper, and it's like, no, it is not. This is one giant overlapping arc, and it is what I consider the greatest writer run in all of comics, and it is the Green Lantern trilogy of Green Lantern Rebirth, Sinestro Corps War, and then the most expensive book I've ever bought at $147. Black the Absolute Edition.
How much?
$147. But it was everything in chronological order. It's like Saul's Watchmen book, but bigger.
Yeah. See, mine was only like 40 something.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this is what brought Hal Jordan back from the dead, because prior to this, he was the Spectre in order to atone for his sins as Parallax. And so the first part of it is essentially the war for Hal Jordan's soul. You have him visiting all his friends, saying something is going on, and then all of a sudden he gets resurrected and becomes a Green Lantern again. And it actually gives us this awesome image, which nobody really talks about. Hal Jordan knocking out Batman, because Batman is the only one who is resistant to Hal Jordan's resurrection, because he does not forgive him for everything he did as Parallax, for all the destruction he caused. And so Hal Jordan punches him out. So that's the first edition. The Sinestro Corps War is where you get introduced to the idea of another Lantern Corps, the evil Lantern Corps, the one of fear, run by Sinestro. And this one, you bring in all the Green Lanterns from the past. You've got Hal Jordan, you got Kyle Rayner, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, joining forces with everybody to defend the universe against Sinestro. And then the third part, which is the Walking Dead of the DC universe, the Black Saga, where all the villains band together to fight against this undead army. And a lot of the undead army are coming back, and they're confronting these heroes with their worst fears. The one that sticks in mind the most is in one of the tie-in comic books with Dick Grayson as Batman. He's confronted by these reincarnations of his parents.
Oh, wow.
And this also, at this time, Bruce Wayne Batman was considered dead. And this laid the seed for what would be the return of Bruce Wayne, whereas whenever a Green Lantern dies, whenever a Black Lantern dies, you hear a voice come from the ring that says, so-and-so is at peace. Well, when they killed the Bruce Wayne zombie version of Batman, you didn't hear that. And it turns out his grave was empty. And then that laid the groundwork for the return of Batman. It is, in my opinion, the greatest saga, the greatest crisis that ever happened in comic book history. And look at them. Yeah, and so I recommend reading this, especially as a series, because it is supposed to be as a trilogy. And then you have the epilogue of the lesser brightest day, but I wouldn't recommend that one.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, one of the cooler things about Blackest Night too that I forgot to mention is you also get the introduction of the Blue Lantern Corps, the Red Lantern Corps, the Indigo Lantern Corps, the Violet Lantern Corps, and then eventually the White Lanterns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
I will be honest that, like, with the Green Lantern stuff, that's one of, like, my least known stuff with comics, so I really do need to get into more of that, because I hear those stories are awesome.
Same here.
John stuff, at one point, it was the highest selling comic book in DC. More so than Batman, more so than Superman. It is essentially what Jeff Johns' Green Lantern Rebirth is what brought me back into comic books. Before that, like, I read a little bit, but I mean, it was that book that was just like floodgates opened. You cannot go wrong with Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. And that's my number one.
Awesome. Yeah. When it comes to DC, I've read a lot of Batman. I've read a lot of The Flash and a little Superman, but that's all. So I definitely need to read more. Definitely.
Hey, Jordan, you're number one.
All right. So my number one, and this is one that you're all familiar with, but it is Marvel Civil War. So that's my favorite of all time.
That is part of the run I talked about earlier with Captain America.
Yeah. So
I was like, here we go, Soda. Go get your comic.
yeah, like I'm sure he's gonna have Marvel Civil War. Come on.
I have the entire Andrew Baker run. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So Marvel Civil War, I just love that it incorporates like why I first got so excited about it. That it literally involves every single Marvel superhero that exists and it has some like really intricate stories involving every single one. And you can read the main story, but there's so many side stories you can read. There's so many like different comic issues that relate to that tie-in, so many tie-in comics. It's just awesome. Like I haven't even read all the tie-ins because there's so many tie-ins to it. And basically we all know the story of Marvel Civil War. It is in the movie. So it's like basically the government wants to register all the superheroes and there's one side that's with the government, that's Iron Man, and then you have Captain America that thinks that's taking away all their rights and freedoms, and so they have two sides that are against each other. So, but basically, what I wrote down just all the aftermath. So, like basically, that they fight, they just go head to head, and so like all this aftermath, just crazy stuff happens. So I'm gonna give a big spoiler warning here. I mean, I'm not going to go over every single point, but
well, I was going to say, probably the people who've seen our show.
yeah, right. So, like, basically, all the aftermath of the Civil War. So, you have the President of the United States grants general amnesty to all opponents of the Superhuman Registration Act who turn themselves in or register. And you have Captain America, the main opponent to the act, is arrested and subsequently assassinated and brainwashed by Sharon Carter, which is crazy, his own love. And then Tony Stark is appointed the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., while Maria Hill is demoted to the deputy director. You have the 50 State Initiative is set up with to eventually place a superhero team in every state. So they're going to have a superhero team in all 50 states. Then you also have the formation of the Mighty Avengers. You also have the formation of the Secret Avengers in that. So, and then I think they even incorporates the Young Avengers as well. They're part of it too. So, and then also some heroes leave the country rather than submit. So in Canada, you have the Omega Flight in there, and
Alpha Flight, isn't it?
We have Alpha Flight, and then you also have Omega Flight too.
Oh, okay.
There's both. So that's actually when the Omega Flight formed. So you already had Alpha Flight, but they formed a new team called Omega Flight. So, and then Firestarter retires, and several heroes remain underground, including all the new Avengers, which is Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, Ronan, Echo, and Wolverine. They all go underground into hiding. And then Spider-Man's identity of Peter Parker is now known, causing J. Jonah Jameson to sue. And then also you have some superhero deaths. You have Goliath, you have Bantam, Typeface, and Stiltman. They're all characters that were killed in that run. Especially Goliath. There's a big thing that revolves around Goliath dying. So
no pun intended.
Yep. Right. And then you have an assassin hired by the Kingpin. Just barely misses killing Spider-Man, but he hits the secondary target of Aunt May. So Aunt May is actually is killed in that, and the attack on Aunt May ultimately leads to Spider-Man striking a deal with Mephisto to save her life while rewriting history and erasing Peter Parker's marriage to Mary Jane.
In the very, very controversial One More Day storyline.
Yeah, very controversial. Yep, and then you also have Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman take a break from the Fantastic Four to work on their marriage, some problems they're having in their marriage, and they're replaced temporarily by the Black Panther and Storm because they're together. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also Captain Marvel enters present day, so like she wasn't before this is his storyline, so I guess she's able to time travel. That one I'm not as familiar with, but she comes back to present day to help in the fight. Then you also have a reconstitution version of the New Warriors emerges, and then most of the former New Warriors are part of the initiative program. Yeah, that, and also you have Nova, who finally returns to Earth. So the original, I'm not sure if it's the original or if it's another form of Nova, was actually from Earth. So she returns to Earth to also fight in the battle. So you have all that craziness happening just from this whole Civil War, just like, and there's so many different comic book tie-ins, so many just like, yeah, like there's a lot I still haven't even gotten to read, because there's probably 50 plus different like tie-in stories that you could read, all revolving
There's so
around
many. There's so many.
Civil War. So yeah,
That was the thing about Marvel. Like, I know DC did that, but Marvel really took that overboard.
yeah, right.
And I think too, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna start reading some like Image comics and stuff, because I'm tired of having to buy so much.
I know.
for
Yeah, sure.
Marvel and DC.
Well,
Because
what I tend to do is I wait till they come out in form like this and just buy it as one volume.
well, one thing that makes me sad with Chadwick Boseman dying is I was really hoping that like there was going to be a Black Panther Storm, and like Storm could be introduced like in a Black Panther 2 or further Black Panther movie. And so that kind of, I was just like, oh, the possibilities, all of those possibilities that we won't have anymore, because I refuse to believe that they're going to recast him, because they cannot.
If anything, they're going to go the comic book route, and they're going to make Shuri Black Panther. That is logical and only acceptable step, in my opinion.
Right.
Right. Same. There we go. We did our number ones.
Yep, that's it.
All right. So now comes the moment of truth. Jordan, your topic for next week.
All right. So my topic next week is your top 5 most underrated movies. So it's going to be movies that like either got like horrible reviews by the critics, or widely disliked, or just ones that really just aren't that popular, but you love them, and so it'll be your top 5, and you'll tell us why you love them.
Done. Okay,
I already have one in my head.
Yep,
two. And I'll argue the spoiler. It's a musical, and I'll argue the music, the songs are better than those in the first one.
Nice.
A little bit of a hint.
I'm excited.
So with that brings an end to this latest episode of Get Sweaty. Thank you very much to those of us who have joined us through this whole entire episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much. Thank you. And I really enjoyed the conversation that was going on in the chat there.
Yeah, same.
So, Jordan, where can everybody find you?
So you can find me at mostly on Facebook at Jordan Anderson 21. You can also find me over on my Facebook channel, Movie Heroes. We have a show over there that's called Tier Ranker Fights. Actually, this morning we just wrapped up a video where we were doing a tier ranking of the greatest video games of all time. We had so many video games on the list that we actually turned it into a part 1. We're going to have part 2 coming next weekend. So we don't have a set time for it yet, so you're going to have to watch for the alerts. I'm gonna post it on all my social, let everybody know about when that is. And then you can also find me over in the Media Sweaties group on Facebook. I'm very active there, so those are the main places.
And how about you, Sol?
You can find me at Solgovin on Twitter. You can find me at sol.k.govin on Instagram.
Right on. And Ben?
You can find me at BenRader2 on Twitter. You can find me on my Small Down show, Matt Small Down. You can also find me with Matt here every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze. And I guess he doesn't even know I'm going to do this. I will announce we're having 50 Shades of Geek on this week.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and say what we're talking about.
And we're talking Smallville, all things Smallville.
Somebody save me. Yeah.
You gotta decide if I want to tune in or not, because I haven't watched it. Do I want to be spoiled?
Yeah, you might not want to watch it now.
Matt's face just went from a smile to a.
Yeah. If you do listen, I lived in Vancouver when they were actually filming the last few seasons of this, so I do have a few stories I can share.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you can find me on Facebook at Ben Raider. I'm at the Media Sweaties Network Facebook group.
All right.
I just want to throw this up for 50. Rest in peace to the legendary Israeli comedian and movie star Yehuda Barkan. Did I pronounce that right, 50?
Hopefully.
And you can find me over at Instagram, Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me weekly over on the Schmoes of the North YouTube channel, where me, my friends Dave, Lou, and Daniel break down the week in Schmodown. And we also do interview the occasional competitor and whatnot. Our most recent episode to drop was Liz Shannon Miller, which was a very delightful conversation. Awesome. Tomorrow night, we're recording one with our an upcoming team in the teams tournament. And it's the first time we've ever had a team on the show. And we will be playing a game with them. So definitely stay tuned for that. And of course, like Ben said, you can find me Thursdays over on Shooting the Breeze. Last week was quite, how do I put it? It was quite, yeah, it was definitely quite the trip for me. Yeah.
Sounded like it.
Let's just say me, high as a kite, talking quantum physics and existentialism.
Nice.
Yeah, it was definitely, you see my mind break on camera.
A few times.
A few times. And so with that, again, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And we will see you next week. And as usual, smash cancer.
Smash cancer.
Smash
Stay sweaty.
Stay sweaty.
Bye, everyone.